requesting all the candidates to take their respective seats. We have just a couple of them not attending, but that will take care of the rest of the evening. But I request everybody to take the seats. One more time, good afternoon. My name is Khaira. I am the General Secretary and Executive with the Press Council of Edmonton, incorporated a couple of years back to facilitate the ethnic media and media at large in Edmonton. And with the great objective and vision, started this organization. And we would like to keep on introducing the organization throughout the event. On behalf of Press Council of Edmonton, we'd like to give you a big round of applause and welcome everybody. The community has been informed, and we're expecting everybody in the afternoon to join us for this forum. Today's agenda, Meet the Press. Just in between, I would like to also inform, we will be closing the sitting and sitting of the councillors' candidates for the elections. Like, we will be closing the seated arrangements, so please inform anybody else is missing here to join us before 3:10. Well, in this forum, along with a team of journalists, there will be questions raised by our honorable guests from all communities. The answers of these questions will help everyone to decide and make their minds to hand over the leadership to one candidate as Councillor of Ward 12, Edmonton. We'd like to invite the moderator of the event today's evening, and we'd like to just give them one call. Mr. Sunil Pool.
Thank you.
Give them a big round. Along with Sunil will be Russell Campbell. Russell and Sunil will be the moderators for this evening, and we'd like to connect with you, and we'll take over from this moment the dial, and I'll be back and forth in informing and giving updates to you all. I would like to welcome you all with a big round of applause. Thank you, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. If I butcher someone's name, I apologize well in advance. And Russell too. So I would like to invite Shahani Ahmed. Is she here?
Absent. Absent.
She's not here, so we will proceed to the second person.
He is not there.
I'm sorry. We will proceed to the second person, Jason Bali. Jason, one second. Would you mind to come over here, please? So Jason is a stay-at-home dad who entered the race to curb unnecessary spending on council. He plans to run his campaign with only $100. Jason.
I'd like to start off by thanking the Press Council of Edmonton for hosting this, as well as... Is it good now?
Yeah.
So I'd like to start off by thanking the Press Council of Edmonton for hosting this for us, as well as for all of you for making it out. Thank you. So as mentioned, I am a stay-at-home parent. I have 2 children at home that I care for. Prior to that, I spent 7 of the last 10 years in the casino industry. I started off as a table game stealer, working my way up to trainer. Prior to that, shortly after, or during high school, I was a national gymnast. And it's not something that I brought up recently. I've been trying to focus more instead of where I've been and trying to work on moving forward. And that's what my campaign is about. I want to try and curb irresponsible spending. A lot of it comes down to a simple question of, do we need it? No, don't spend it. I do not live in the ward. I do, however, have other reasons for having a vested interest in the ward. For starters, my son, he attends school within the ward, and in September I have full intention of my daughter joining him at the same school. I spent 28 years living in Mill Woods, most of that in Ward 12. I went to 2 schools in the ward. And I have some sentimental attachment to the community that raised me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Valley. We'll call upon the next individual, Mr. Mo Banga.
Hello everyone. Thanks for arranging this forum. And these people from Ward 12 and across the city, they definitely need to know who all the candidates are and what their platform is and also what they're all about. My name is Mo Banga. I moved to my new home in Ward 12 35 years ago, 38 to be exact, not knowing what to expect. It was a new life for me and my wife, and we had to start from scratch. So I put my master's degree that I obtained from Punjab University, Patala in India to work. I worked as a laborer, I worked as a journeyman welder, then I decided it was time to go to school. So I went to NAIT for 2 years, got my oil and gas diploma. Then I thought that wasn't enough education, so I went to University of Alberta for my engineering degree. Working as an engineer for about a year and a half, I decided that this is something that I needed more challenge. The challenge was to join in a service where I could deal with people. I could mingle with people. The same very people that were my neighbors, that were my friends, and also my future generations. So I joined Edmonton Police Service 25 years ago and worked my way all the way from a constable to a sergeant to a detective. I'm situated working as a detective in the Southeast Division. As you might guess, I'm not a person who will stay. As you might guess, I'm not a person with a status quo. And I see the real problems in life. Not just working as a police officer, but also volunteering. That's why I'm willing to and stepping forward to represent you so that I can apply my knowledge, experience, and not just work experience, everything that I've learned from you, with you, to work. Thank you.
Before we invite another candidate, I just want to remind all the candidates there are 2 minutes. So there are 3 votes will be at 40 after 1, 50 after 1, and at 2 minutes. So just a request to everyone, please follow the timelines and the time frame. Now I would like to invite Mr. Bajor. Oral Bajor.
Absent.
Mike Butler. Nick.
Nick Chamcha?
Yep.
That's me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Chamchuk. I believe I'm Ward 12's natural choice for your next city councillor. I am a hardworking multitasker with advanced face-to-face communication skills, the drive necessary to start and finish difficult tasks, and a sincere desire to help people. I have dedicated the last 21 years of my life to public service in the nonprofit community in Edmonton and area, primarily with STARS Air Ambulance or STARS Air Rescue. And have been happily married to my wife Karen for 17 blissful years and change. I met her when she came to work with me at STARS. Now she's the mother of our daughter Angela. And my OA, for anyone who doesn't know, OA is official agent. It means she keeps tracks of the donation receipts, most of which are $20 or less for my campaign. Mine's the official documents, and gives me advice about how women view politics, something I'm unable to understand myself as being a man. Karen and Angela are my inspiration for this historic by-election run and keep me grounded in this increasingly interesting race. I've always been interested in politics ever since my father, Nick Sr., many of you in this new room would know him, took me to his right side and instructed me on the sliding scale of the political spectrum. His teachings still bear fruit to this day, and his system of understanding people has made it easy for me to make friends out of total strangers and sometimes enemies. If this was a party-based election, that would help me, but seeing as it is a municipal election, I'm on my own. In short, I was raised by my environment to be your choice for Ward 12 City Councilor.
Mr. Chanchuk. Do you have the next candidate, your friend Chardonnay? Okay, I've got that.
Hello, Sasri Kal, Assalamu Alaikum. First of all, thank you to everyone for attending this on a Sunday, cold, blistery Sunday, but thank you for taking the time because it is important to learn from all the candidates to see who are about, why we're running. So I also want to thank all the candidates who said they would come for actually showing up. That's a very good thing to do, to stick to your word, as councillors should be able to do that. So my name is Irfan Chaudhry, and I'm running for City Council in Ward 12. As someone who is now raising a young family in the area, I lived there all my life, and I'm continuing to raise my family there in the area. I know the importance of having strong representation on the City Council level. I've worked with the City of Edmonton for over 5 years. I started out with the Edmonton Police Service as a crime analyst. I moved over to the Aboriginal and Multicultural Relations Office, where I've got a lot of my experience working with council directly. So knowing exactly what the demands of the job are, what the expectations are, I have that direct experience. And again, I have the most municipal government experience of any of the candidates who are running. I think that's important to keep in mind for a municipal election. I have a strong voice to represent the ward very well. I'm working right now my PhD in criminology at the University of Alberta, and I also possess a Master's of Arts in Criminal Justice as well. I bring that up because I have a strong understanding of community safety, but also how to navigate through difficult and contentious issues. It's important for a councillor to have that strong voice and have that deep understanding of the issues that impact the ward, and I believe I have that. So again, thank you very much again for your time. I will be sharing more of my platform as this day goes on. We also have some material out there as well, and there are some fancy yellow badges if ever anyone wants one. We have some. So thank you again for your time, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Irfan. Now I would like to invite Judge Bill.
Absent.
Brian Anderson.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation today, and would like to thank the fellow candidates who have all shown up. That there is so many of us speaks to how strong and involved our community is. I have lived in this community for over 30 years, back when 50th Street was a dirt road and was primary road in and out of Mill Woods. I have lived and watched this community grow and become the multicultural community that it is today, and quite frankly, proud of it. Throughout my life, I have given much to our community as a volunteer for the United Way, the Greater Edmonton Foundation, and the City of Edmonton's Working Group to End Poverty. Most recently, I was the president of the Edmonton and District Labor Council, where I served the interests of working people across this city. My experience has taught me great skills. I know how to listen and how to find compromise. I am a pragmatic, progressive person who knows how to deal with and work with others. I feel that I have the experience to do that. Two major issues that I see facing Ward 12 are the Valley Line LRT expansion and reducing poverty and homelessness. These are huge issues, and I hope people are able to touch on them this evening. In closing, I believe that I have the knowledge, the experience, and the right priorities to serve as your voice on City Council. Thank you all once again, and I hope to earn your vote on February 22nd.
Hello everybody, I'm Ranjit. I have a lot of deep roots in this community. I came here in 1974 and we lived in Millwoods, and my father was a professor at Graham College in Millwoods as well. And I'm here today because of a friend of mine, Wesley Mather, who passed away. I was at her funeral, and Ranjit he was in attendance, and it inspired me to step up because somebody else needed to fill that spot as well. And I've seen a lot of people in the community. I own the Woodville Laundromat, and I saw a lot of beautiful families come in, and they were great. I learned a lot from all these people, the Sikh people and the Hindi people that all came in, and I saw beautiful things, so I want to step up and help you all. On my platform, I'd like to, immediately do something about the transport thing. We can probably bring in some sort of business buses to bus people and take care of this immediately for people. And also too, I've been going around talking to people and hearing about their problems with jobs. So I want to get involved with job creation. And with Ranjit being, representative in that community, he can do a lot for us. So hopefully I can step up and be your ambassador. And that's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Now I would like to invite Lincoln Ho.
Hello, I am Lincoln Ho. I just came from a Chinese New Year celebration, so that's why I'm dressed like this. Happy New Year to you guys too. It's on Monday, February 8th, if you're wondering. I've been a long-term resident of Ward 12 for over 25 years, and I went to school in Bassett, went to McNally, and at the University of Alberta. I have a BA, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Christian Theology. And I've worked in several different industries, including the public sector, the private sector, and also the charitable sector, if you want to count it as that. So I've been the City Hall School Program Guide for over 4 years. I've worked in the private industry for telecommunications with TELUS, and I worked at Home Mission, the men's shelter, for them for 3 to 5 years, depending on how you count it. I volunteered there until they actually hired me. So I'm a huge supporter of the arts, the community, and of course the businesses and the events that are going on. I run something called The Egg Ventures on my own time for free. And it started as a YouTube channel with over 250,000 views right now. And now I promote it through the website. So I promote different things that are going on, and right now I'm actually working with the Ice on White Festival. So I was just there earlier today promoting that. I've worked with the University Hospital Foundation for the Festival of Trees, and of course I support social justice initiatives. So that includes equality and also the dignity of people. So my key areas of action would be keep moving forward. We would be able to keep the quality of life that we have here in Ward 12 great. Moving is to move Ward 12 and the people in an efficient way, and also forward in a way that is prosperous to this ward. Thank you.
Very much, Mr. Hill. So just as a reminder again, there's 3 bells. First at 1:40, the second one is at 1 minute and 50 seconds, third is at 2 minutes, and then the introduction will be done. Again, we'd like to ask Sam Jahaj to come to the podium.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I want to also thank you to the Press Council of Edmonton and each and every one of you who in this room and taking your time out of your busy Sunday. So just really thank you. My name is Sam Judge. I'm your candidate for Ward 12. I'm family man and happily married for 11 years with 2 wonderful kids. I'm proud immigrant. I moved here in 2005 and I started my career from Ward 12. When I moved to my first place in the Melbourne, and I'm a small businessman. Some of my qualities are that I have the skill for the time management, teamwork with sense of responsibility. I believe in community success and serving people. This is my way of giving back to the community. Ward 12 is growing with different challenges every day. Issues can be big or small. However, I promise you one thing, I can commit to stand with you and for you. While talking to the residents, their concerns are safer community, jobs, maximize the value for the tax dollar. My vision is to make Ward 12 shine. I will be available and approachable to my residents of Ward 12, so that together we can make Edmonton the best city to live and raise our family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sam. And I would like to invite Dan Johnson.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming out today. As my friend was saying over there, it really shows when people give a commitment to come to an event like this, and those who don't show, it looks really bad on them. I mean, if you can't come to this, how are you going to be in city council, right? Congratulations, guys. So why would I make a good Ward 12 city councilor? Well, I think I'd be a very productive city councilor, and I'd be a very hands-on city councilor. You just look at what I've done in the community. I'm known as Can-Man Dan in the community, and through that initiative, we raised about £250,000 of food for various charities throughout Edmonton and Alberta. We raised over $150,000 for those charities as well, plus a ton of awareness and a ton of other resources as well. I've also started a local live initiative last year where we help struggling locally owned businesses attain new customers, and that has been a fantastic initiative, and it's coming back bigger and better in 2016. We have online coupons, it's going to be huge, and local businesses love this initiative because it gets people in there, and I believe in a very strong and vibrant local economy because it's very important to Edmonton, and I want to make sure that our local business owners are taken care of. I've also coached community sports. I've helped with many, many youth groups throughout the city, and I've also been the ambassador, the face, the spokesperson for many, many other initiatives, grassroots initiatives, organizations, and nonprofits throughout the city. So I am all about the community every single day. I am out there planning, building, doing what I can to make sure the Edmontonians are safe, they're secure, and they're happy to be here. I'm all about the community. And I should probably say that through all my initiatives, I have never made one single cent on these initiatives. I do it because I love Edmonton, I love the community, and I love the people. I want to make sure that Edmonton stays great. So quickly about my budget, or my platform before I get cut off here. We're going to tackle the photo radar issue. It's a scam. We're going to take care of it. I'm going to restructure the whole thing. No one's going to be tougher on photo radar than me. We're going to actually concentrate on our transit system. Long gone are the days where we neglect our transit system and neglect the users who use it as well. And I guess I'm done. We'll talk more about the platform later. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. The next person on our list has advised that they were not able to make it. They're actually with family out of the city at this point, doing some family issues, so they had advised that they could not be here, and that was Kelly Cadella. So the next person that we will actually invite up is Nav Kaur.
She's not absent.
Oh, it's here.
Looks like Mr. Kaur is not here. There's another person here who had a prior commitment who had advised us that Rory Koopmans is not here, but also, so we'll ask the next individual, John Kozak. Doesn't look like Kozak is here, so we'll go to the next individual, Balraj Mahanas. Mr. Mahanas.
First of all, I just want to thank you, Edmonton, Press Council of Edmonton, all of you guys who are here enjoying your Sunday morning, afternoon, and evening with us. I think it will take long. My name is Balraj Singh Manhas, a resident of Ward 12 for the last 20 years, I think 21 by now. I lived all my life in Edmonton since I moved from India in Ward 12. My kids, I have two kids, a daughter who is studying in university, a son who is a junior high student, born and raised in Ward 12. Working for the community for a long time, several community organizations, including sports, cultural, and also a fighter for a normal man. I worked in the city hall. I spent hundreds or thousands of hours of my volunteer work for a community which has no voice at the time, but by now it has a good voice. I worked with the city council, not one city council, but several councils in the past 10 years. I spent a lot of time, learned a lot, and I know inside out of the city council. I will be a good candidate. I will become a councillor as a good councillor, and I know how the city council works. There are several issues, but how to resolve them? There will be one vote from Ward 12, and it will make a big difference if a good councillor goes there and work with the other city councillors and lobby them to achieve any of the issues. We have several issues. Several candidates will talk about it. LRD, crime, and there are so many other things. But as an experienced representative in the city council before, I can be a good candidate. Thank you.
Thank you, Balraj. Now we would like to invite Terry McCann.
Thank you. Can we just have a big round of applause for the Press Council of Edmonton and the Maharaja Banquet Hall for this beautiful venue? This is a fantastic opportunity, and it shows great corporate citizenship. Really, you have to remember that when you're looking for where to spend your private dollars in the future. My name is Terry J. McKinnon. In the past 20 years, I've been working in the community. It's nice, I see some familiar faces out there. Some of you may know me when I was working with iNews 880 as a community blogger. Some of you may know me from when I was working with the community to meet our needs. The rest areas in the green spaces, I helped build those with Ranjit Sohi. The Jackie Parker Sprinkler Park. I was one of the originators of that with the Millwoods Lions Club, and I was proud to do it. It was a need we needed. The reason I am running for city council is because I grew frustrated with how council has been doing things. We see over and over the same challenges. Crime, potholes, high taxes. Violent crime has been escalating out of control in this city. These two men, Khaira Paul Bandul and Ricky Sanabra, and I apologize to their families if I mispronounced their names, were murdered not too far away from my home. My son was friends with one of them. This speaks to a way unacceptable level of crime that men can't work safely in the stores. Potholes are so bad, I need a 4x4 to drive safely in this town. We're breaking our vehicles. It's out of control. We just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. And guess what? This doesn't work. High taxes. We have a 280% rise in taxes in 20 years. We've raised almost $3 billion in debt in that time. So if you're tired of crime, potholes, and high taxes, vote for Terry McKinnon on February 22nd for Work Well.
Thank you very much. Next, we will ask, I apologize if I mess up on these names, Rakesh Patel.
Loud, I don't need mic actually. I want to be your voice like that without mic in the city council. My name is Rakesh Patel. I'm running for Ward 12 election because of community. I believe community is judged by how they treat seniors. I run for community, I earn from the community, and I enough make from the community. Now this time to serve community. I'm not talking about one community, I'm talking about all the communities who people live in Edmonton. By education, I'm a teacher, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Education, Math Science teacher. In Canada, my profession is, I'm a commercial contractor as well as small business owner. I have a business experience. That experience I come forward to the table for you guys. I have issues, and the issues always change. And the person who can react as a change agent, that's me. I have not the issue what I write it down on the piece of paper. I go to the families and what they have the issue, that is my issue. One of them, I knocked the door one day and one of the lady has 8 years and 10 years kids. They told me, I bought this house over here in front of the school, and then the school sent me some other school because they have not enough space. I'm running for schools. In Ward 12, we need more schools. I'm running for seniors. I'm running for reduce the tax. I'm running for be your strong voice in City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. Now I would like to invite Theo Peters. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. If it's not here, Singh Sandhu.
Hello everyone, my name is Singh Sandhu. About 10.5 years ago, my uncle was murdered in an armed robbery. And despite this hard time for my family, I saw how my community could come together and fight for justice through grassroots initiatives. I want to see this community, the community that I was born in, the community that I have lived in my entire life, continue to build and strengthen this fabric. We're all residents of this city. We want to see it succeed. We need to see it succeed. This means building Edmonton while remaining accountable and transparent with taxpayer dollars, with strong fiscal management. I have a business perspective and the necessary political experience for the job. In 2013, I was elected as the youngest vice president in PC Alberta executive history as a vice president of outreach. This experience and the relationships that I built across the political spectrum have taught me how government works, the importance of diplomacy, and how to get things done. Consistency, persistence, and trust. These are the values you can expect of me. That is why I'm asking for your vote. There are many candidates running. Many of them don't live in the ward, don't understand our local issues, and don't have the requisite background to represent our concerns. I do, and I ask that on February 22nd, if you agree with what I represent, that you vote for me, Singh Sandhu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandhu. Just wanted to make sure that, just because this name is hard to pronounce, that we don't miss someone. Field Patrice? No, he's not here? Okay, thank you. We'll ask Narpal Sakan to come forward. He's not here, is it? Okay. Yash Sharma?
Hi everyone. As you know, I've been in media for the last 5 years. Before starting my newspaper, 5 years ago, I was sales account manager with General Electric Chemical Division. My passion is public service, 24/7, 100%. And this I have adequately proved to every constituent, every member of community that I preach what I do. And you would agree with me that I have been inclusive in every community come what may. As far as community work goes, I work for fundraising for Milgood Activity Center, Make My Wish, Food Bank, and Sahayata Sanstha, which is registered in US, Canada, and India, and working with abundant kids and abundant seniors. Come what may on 22nd, you will have strong, informed voice which will be attached to each and every constituent and connecting to council with all your issues. Even after 22nd, the result is different. My passion for public service will not be depleted. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite Nicole Samoska. I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly. Laura?
I'm here. I'm Jerry.
Sorry, Jerry. So, Jerry, would you mind to come over here, please?
Hi, my name is Jerry Stevens, and I've lived in Millwood since 1978, and through all these years, I've been very frustrated and concerned with the many decisions that were made by council. Notwithstanding, I've wanted to run for council many, many times. I've either been working at another job or I was out of town on business. Now I bring to the plate a diverse and varied experience, and I've worked in the public service field, executive assistant to Councillor Hayter, and completely set up his office when he came back in 2001. I conducted research for him on various issues to ensure every aspect would be covered and addressed prior to his voting. I'm very familiar with council procedures, their agendas, schedules, committee meetings, and council meetings. Therefore, orientation would be very minimal for me because I would be able to start working immediately for the citizens of the city and for Ward 12. I would not be just filling a chair and collecting a salary. Now, I've also worked in the legal field as legal assistant, and I wrote a manual that the lawyer took to Lisa to teach at the University of Alberta. I worked in the finance sectors in interim financing, leasing, and banking in the commercial credit department, and prepared budgets, credit applications, and have done accounting. I've also been involved in marketing and sales. Boy, I must be about 100 years old, right? And I owned and operated a small business as well as home business ventures. So I'm a people person, I love people, I've been involved in administration, marketing, public relations, many volunteer positions, and helped people for many times and involved in politics for many years. Thank you. That was fast.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stevens. The next candidate that we will invite is Laura Thibault. I probably messed up that last name. So.
Thank you. Thank you to the Press Council for organizing and everyone that took today to join us. I am a strong, experienced voice for City Council with political, business, and nonprofit experience. I live in the ward with my family. I am someone who is familiar with the needs of our community, who can represent our common vision and values. I believe taxpayers deserve the best value for our city services, and infrastructure needs of Ward 12 cannot be neglected so that we get so far behind we cannot catch up. I am passionate about being an active member of our community, and I love to find new and innovative ways to solve challenges. I am very active in my community, from attending school council meetings, volunteering with my community league, and attending the Millwoods President's Council. I serve as a proud member of the Red Shoe Society, and it's a diverse network of like-minded community leaders supporting the Ronald McDonald House. I participate at Corpus Christi Parish, and I'm a member of the CWL. I believe in listening to the constituents to develop best practices that will move us forward. I believe community engagement is critical to the role of City Councillor, to represent the voices of the residents of Southeast Edmonton. In my role as trustee, I have been involved with many ward and citywide consultations, and I will bring this experience and practice to my role as City Councillor. I was elected as Catholic School Trustee in 2010 and re-elected in 2013. I am a co-owner with my husband of a successful carpentry business here in Edmonton. I am the right leader for Ward 12, who is committed to doing the right thing for our community. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite Pete Chu.
Thank you. Dear residents of Ward 12, I am running to be your representative for Edmonton City Council and look for your support on February 22nd. I have dedicated myself to the community and this great country, and I've been living here in this ward for the past 25 years, and I've raised a 22-year-old son. I'm serving as the executive committee member of Sikh Women's Association. Also, I serve as a board of director at Millwoods Family Resource Center. And I've championed many volunteer projects, which includes Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation, Edmonton Food Bank, as well as Canadian Blood Services. I have received a team and a leadership award from Edmonton Transit. That's where I've been working for the past 18 years. I have mastered in the Boston LRT operation, dispatch, resource management coordinator, as well as Boston LRT instructor. Like many of the candidates, I don't have a political party backup, any affiliation to any party or group or a business. Some of the candidates don't even live in the ward and do not understand the local issues. I have lived in the ward 25 years and I understand the needs of the community. However, like most community activists, I am not going to give up. I am going to keep fighting, and we still have hope, which is why I'm running to be a city councillor and to be voice of Ward 12, to be as your elected official, who puts families first, not my own self-interest. Bringing back the dignity to middle class and a meaningful employment to make difference and bring transparency to every single dollar. And I encourage every resident to pay attention to these debates and vote for the best candidate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tour. We'll ask Steve Tour to come to the podium.
He's not here.
Steve is not here. Next candidate is Stephen Wetsky. Not here as well. Now that we have the first round done, the introductions to the candidates, basically we're going to be having some question and answers. The way that we're going to handle that is those in the audience are going to be called up, and then they can ask their question to the candidates. And the way we're going to handle it is we'll start at this end of the table here, okay, at the top. We'll work our way that way, then back to the bottom, and then work our way back. The second question, we will actually have, instead of starting here, we will start second, third question, fourth question, fifth, along that way. That way it keeps on going down, so no one actually gets, you don't have the first answer every single time. And the gentleman on the bottom doesn't have the last answer every single time. So if that makes sense, does everybody understand the way we're going to deal with that? And hopefully, if you remember, if you went first, then just nudge the next person and let them know that they'll go first as well.
Thank you, Russell. Before we proceed with the question and answers, I would like to invite Kanak on the stage, please. Kanak?
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Russell. So I'm back here to give some updates and just the proceedings. We'd like to welcome you all again, and a big round of applause. The tables are getting filled up, and thanking the candidates for the introductions. Give yourself a big round of applause, please. On behalf of Press Council of Edmonton, I would like to thank each and everybody who's taking their time here and joining us this great, very snowy afternoon. Well, the next thing I would like to say is about the list of questions. We have Mr. Ranjit Sandhu sitting this side. I think you can wait, please, Mr. Ranjit Sandhu. You can give him the questions, so we will line up according to the questions first come first, and we will make sure that they are attended. That is one thing I would like to tell, and also that we would like to just attach that we care. That's why we all are here today, and this is a big initiative for us as the Press Council of Edmonton to organize this event, and this is to not only to bring the candidates on one table or one forum, also to know who is who here, who is representing the Ward 12. So thank you again, everybody, and keep inviting. If everybody is free to join us, please make some calls and ask them to come over here. Well, thank you. So any other formalities, Mr. Sandhu, I should be doing at this point? So, well then, I would like to add that this is open forum for the people, first with the representatives of different organizations, and the answers will be given in order of alphabetic orders. We'll try our best on that, and we will decide before going for the forum. So that is all I have for now. Well, let's also focus on our timings as we go. We'll keep it restricted to 1 minute for the questions, and 2 minutes for the answers and questions. 1 minute for the questions. So let's keep the time frame, and would like to see the buzzer somewhere. Who is sitting with the buzzer? Give him a big round as well. Mr. Bilaspur. So at time to time I come on the podium and this will update you and inform you, and would like to thank you again, and if you want to see us, we are in the side here. Well, thanks again, we'll continue. Thanks, I'll welcome back our moderators, Sunil and Russell. Thank you.
Is it 1 minute or 2 minutes to answer?
It's 1 minute to answer.
1 minute.
1 minute to answer. Well, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Before we proceed to the questions answer period, I have a request to everyone. When you are asking a question, please raise it to ask a question which is relevant to all the people, all the candidates. No personal questions, please. Thank you. Now would I invite Paul Singh Purabal. He's from Edmonton Nagar Chieftain Committee, and he has a question for all the candidates.
Please don't start the timer until my question starts. I've lived in Edmonton for more than 41 years and about 33 years in Labour's area. So I'm very much familiar with the council and its working because I've been in contact with most of the people during these years. And this morning I was in Gurdwara Sri Guru Singh Sabha, and Mr. Sohi was there too. I talked to him for a minute, and I said to him, Mr. Sohi, we have a galaxy of candidates it is all because of you. He performed so well, and what he achieved is sort of miracle. And he set an example of work and ethics which all of us should follow. Now we have got a galaxy of very capable people sitting here, listening to all of them. It is very difficult for voters to make up their mind. So I'm going to pray for myself, God, to give me direction to vote for the winningest candidate. The candidate who is going to win, give me that direction. So, my question, it's from two of us, my friends, Singh and myself. During the past few years, we have seen that the taxes have gone up and up and up. They have hit very hard on the seniors, and it's becoming very difficult to get the budget balanced. Now my question is, who the winning candidate, whosoever he is, should look after or at least stand for the seniors and try to reduce the taxes. The second question is, the security of the seniors as well as at the home as well as on the road. That should be looked after. And the third one is all our bills, which many years used to be only one bill. Now we have got utility bills which are up in 3, 4, 5 bills of utilities. And electricity charges are less than the delivery charges. So our request is to look into these problems. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking more time.
Thank you, Uncle Vic. Again, one more time, we will restrict to one question, please. And as a adult in the community, we take his blessings, who gave you an opportunity for having 2 questions. But with due respect, one question, please. Okay, thank you.
That seemed like 3 questions to me, maybe 4. I'll try to answer them the best I can. My father is a senior like this gentleman here, and daily we go through a lot of things. Dealing with finance and stuff like that. Like, for example, if you don't know that the Alberta government has a plan and gives extra benefits, and if you don't file for that, you don't get it. I just want everybody to know that. And the taxes for seniors, they made some adjustments. There's a new plan out there. You have to research it. I don't have you have to look it up, but it will help you. As for senior security, that is an issue, especially with my father. We don't have that much family around. A lot of people have family, which is really good. And we need to probably make satellite families and all come together and making more, okay. That's all then. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Dr. Purwal for that question. Thank you very much. If many of you don't know, Dr. Purwal is a very well-respected member of the community and has actually done great accomplishments for the Sikh faith internationally. So please give him a round of applause. Taxes on seniors, property taxes on seniors is a question that I have been receiving at the door. It is interesting to see that the city is constantly raising taxes is a factor by the fact that we're constantly growing. But seniors, typically on fixed incomes, who want to stay in their homes face a burden. The province does have a program that allows you to defer property taxes on your home to a certain amount, which is then recouped from the equity of your home once you pass on. This is a program that does some benefit. It does affect the next generation's ability to inherit what you leave behind. I think it's important increase knowledge of that program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burrell, and your contribution to the community. We really appreciate that, especially the Nanak Shahi Calendar. Yes, this issue has been there for a long time, and whenever we go to the doors, if the senior opens the door, that's the first question. But there's a program from the Alberta government. You can pay in the installments, but especially for the city, as they discount the bus passes, there are several other discounts in other programs. They should have something. We have to look at that, and we have to look at that. We have to see the approach. How can we reduce it? If I become a councillor, that will be one of my first priorities, to look into it and reduce the taxes. And the second thing you asked for this security, at the home and on the road for the seniors. I've seen so much in the parks, that things happening for the last 2-3 years, and we raised this issue. Even we have a meeting. We had a meeting 10 days ago with the deputy chief, and we raised it again because it comes every year, this problem. Sorry, my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if everybody knows, at this point, the Municipal Government Act is being reviewed by the provincial government. And there might be an opportunity here where we can bring up the issue of taxes, deferring taxes for seniors. Quite personally, I don't believe in that. I think it's just a way of eroding what you have worked so hard for in the past. To keep the equity that you have in your own home. So I don't see that as a direct answer. There has to be a different way that we can introduce something that will take care of taxes for senior. And there should be a discount, in my mind. And we would have to put pressure on the provincial government and the city to take a serious look at it. Utilities, I'm passing by one, but I want to address utilities. Utilities is not just difficult for seniors. It's difficult for all of us, actually.
And again? All right. Well, seniors is definitely a group of individuals that's very close to me. Grandparents and everything. And often I feel that seniors are often forgotten about and mistreated a lot. So a big part of my platform includes the building and mandating, legislating of more social and subsidized housing in the new developments area. Right now, the developers are calling the shots. They're building rampant, and right now, their city council is not using that land to our citizens, in a positive way. So we're going to be building more subsidized and social housing, which seniors can benefit from in the new areas, and it's going to be low income, so it's going to be great fit for seniors. And another thing that I also want to look at and really push is we can create additional tax breaks for seniors on a city level. I think it's something that's very achievable. You look at some of these European countries and they're doing the same thing, so why can't we adopt that same situation here? Giving individuals who are 65 or over tax break on their property taxes or in other methods as well. So we can definitely look into that.
Thank you for the question. The City of Edmonton currently has a program called Age-Friendly Edmonton. And what this is, it's a way to try to acknowledge some of those concerns that you just raised. So they do a lot of engagement sessions with the senior population, but it's lacking, in my opinion, because what ends up happening is they'll get all these consultation sessions, they'll learn from the seniors to raise the similar issues you just mentioned, and then no action gets done on it. So you'll see there's about 3 full-time staff members assigned to Age-Friendly Edmonton under the Community Investment branch. And all they end up having the capacity to do is do the projects, do the reports, get recommendations, but the city needs to find resources to take action on those recommendations, especially when we see just how multicultural and diverse our senior population is getting. There is a very unique need for the different groups within Edmonton specifically. So my commitment would be to find resources for Age-Friendly Edmonton to be able to acknowledge and honor some of those issues that you just raised, because they are very, very important issues that we need to start taking more action on. Secondly, you talked safety is a key issue, so elder abuse and phone scans. You know, EPS has a huge impact on seniors, and I'd be committed to working with limiting that as well. So thank you.
So to start off with addressing the concern on property taxes. I'm actually looking to try and reverse the property taxes altogether across the board. When it was initially proposed, it was 4.9% each year for 3 consecutive years. Now we've brought it down to 3.4% for the first 2 years and 4.8% for the third year. Given that, it makes me believe that raising property taxes was a first response rather than a last resort. So I would be looking to work towards making it a last resort. I have some ideas in my platform where we can find this money to roll back the property taxes. And as my other candidates, my fellow candidates previously mentioned, that there are programs available. However, I think that there's difficulty in getting across the message on where those programs are and how people can benefit from them. So I will be working to try and direct people to the appropriate programs. Thank you.
Hi. With respect to the taxes, this is a burden for everyone, not just the seniors. And because the city keeps on constructing, giving development permits, and there's more construction and development, they keep collecting more taxes. But they are irresponsible as how they spend their money, and it should be spent on needs. Now, do you see any seniors riding a bicycle and they need a bike painted on the street? No, neither does anyone else. And the seniors should be given grants for upkeep in their homes to help them, because many of them are on limited incomes, and that is just not acceptable for them to basically live in poverty. Now the utilities, I would love to be on the utility committee. That's always been a concern for me. The administration charges and the fees are so high that they're more than what a person actually uses. And I will work for them. Thank you.
The thing I hate seeing is a picture of my mom working after she's retired. And I don't think anyone here would like to see their parents working. So the biggest thing is being a senior is expensive. They spend more money than I do just on the cost of living, on everything. I would ensure that the services the city provides and also the businesses in the city do provide senior rates. That's been cut out over the years. There's no respect for seniors, and I want that back. I want to make sure that there's a ceiling review every single 2-3 years about, especially with inflation and things like that, the poverty rate and the seniors' income rate gets boosted along with the income. And utilities, of course, that would be, we could offer subsidies for utility companies. I want to make sure that the Senior Services Center give value-added services. And abuse at centers, I want to make sure that there are increased inspections so people don't get abused.
Seniors are taxpayers, and they deserve the best value for city services. To me, it's important we are getting the best value for our tax dollars. I believe in long-term sustainable funding, like a 3-year plan that will allow the city to be able to plan and prioritize budgets, and get long-term sustainable funding as well that serves the city well. And this includes ensuring our seniors are getting the best quality of life and services as possible. Through the city budget, we need to make seniors a priority and partner with organizations so that we can keep everyone safe.
Seniors are special people to me. My mother is a senior citizen, and for the tax system, I would say if the federal and provincial government can do a graduated tax system, why can't the city do a graduated tax system for the seniors? And it can be done, and it can be done efficiently. Secondly, security of the senior. They are the most vulnerable people that needed to be protected in this society. Through my 25 years in policing, I have seen the seniors suffer not from just other people, but even their own, like the senior abuse. I'd like to make sure there are strong teams in consultation with the seniors so that we can find out their problem and address them accordingly. And then utilities, of course, we need to make sure that we help our seniors because they built us where we are, and we need to keep them there so that we can properly appreciate them. Thank you.
Seniors are very important to me. In my 21-year career in charity fundraising, seniors are the most generous group of anybody, and that's never lost on me. I've been canvassing 6 to 8 hours a day, every day since this campaign started. For me, that was November 6th. I've canvassed more than any of these people, and what I've heard from seniors is yeah, they do want a break, but seniors also want to keep their young families that are related to them and individuals in mind too. So seniors support me the most with donations. I don't ask many for donations, but they give the most generously in my campaign. I think there's an easy answer to all of these problems, and that's give the EPS the full $20 million ask that they want, with no exceptions, so they can fight terrorism, hire and train, and equip their officers.
Thank you, very valid question. And I would say I've been working with lots of seniors, so I'm through Glenwood's Sikh Women's Association, though it's a female ladies, but concerns everybody's same. I would say if city would have not waste millions of dollars, whether putting up bike lanes or rebuilding the rec centers and stuff, we wouldn't have to raise funds. We could have done it without. And again, I would say that seniors should get additional break, the tax break. And when it comes to security, definitely a lot of seniors are suffering either at home with the abuse or at the senior centers from loneliness, and there should be a program for them. And the utility bills and the delivery charges, I think delivery charges should be reduced for all.
As I live with my parents who are senior, I can closely see that what the problem seniors are facing. Seniors, always important on my agenda as well. I don't want to give you the diplomatic answer, but I want to give you just one example. We have a lot of park on Ward 12. Seniors are sitting on the park and suddenly rain comes and they have to run to the car or to the bus because we have no shelter at the park. The person who can't even walk, they have to run. So I'm running for that. There is one of my agenda is like freezing the seniors property tax for certain time, so senior can survive. About senior, there is a lot of examples. We don't have a senior center in Ward 12. Just one senior center, we need way more than that for the seniors. Thank you very much. And I have one emergency call from my witness. I have to run for it. Sorry, guys, I have to leave on middle of the debate. But I have just one last message to you. Election is not about me. Election is all about you.
Thank you very much.
You have to choose like right candidate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a very good question. During the door knocking, I had a very serious discussion about the senior taxes. And she lady that's 85-year-old, she owned the house and she had the same issue. And she asked our pension plan is the same, I know, but it's under federal pension plan. She says city increasing the taxes every year. So how come then senior can face about that? About the security, yesterday I had an open house and there is almost 20 seniors there, and I talk about the domestic violence. Especially in Caucasian community, we know that, ethnic community. As an ethnic community, I know that there is a lot of problem for our children, our seniors. So, but there is always room for improve that. And we have to revisit and review और डिस्कशन अबाउट द स्पेंडिंग आर मेड जो हमारी ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੇ ਸਪੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਅਤੇ ਖਰਚੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ
Thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for coming here. You honor us with your presence, absolutely, and you have blessed us with your prayer, and I really do appreciate that. Thinking critically about this and reaching out to God for a clear answer is very responsible. Now, most of the budget problems and the tax problems can be answered by changing the way we budget. Our city decides how much they want to spend, and then they decide how much they're going to ask. That is not how you budget. You find out how much money you have, and then you responsibly spend that, only going into debt if you need to, and if you can, pay it back in a responsible manner. Taxing us at 300 times in 20 years, when the population has only gone up by 140, is stealing from us. It takes away from our seniors, it takes away from our retirement plans, it takes away from the money we need to put into our communities. So we have to change the way we budget. Absolutely. The same way that the province budgets, the same way the corporations budget, the same way the country budgets.
I appreciate concern of our seniors, but being councillor, I am just one vote, and if we want any modifications or any bylaws or any motions, I need another 6 councillors to work with me. So if I'm elected, I will work with other councillors to get the things done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, candidates. Individual will come up with their question. He is the Vice President of the Pakistan-Canada Association of Edmonton. Also, just as a mention, the President of that association, Mr. Charari, is also the owner of the establishment here and has donated the fact that we can have this here. So we'd like to thank him for that. Arshad Nali.
Hello everyone, my name is Arshad Mali. I'm the Vice President of Pakistan-Canada Association, and maybe for the record I want him to pronounce the name of my president right. His name is Tariq Chaudhry, and he is the owner of this banquet hall too. My question is a question that you need to just answer one, and that is that what is the most important, vital and burning issue that you feel that your city is facing in general and your ward is facing in particular, and if you get elected, how differently you will tackle that problem, and if you do not get elected, how would you pursue that problem so that that problem can be resolved? I would request that please do not give us any book answer. Please give us the answer that will be backed with your action, and that's what you are going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa, for that question. It's very pointed. And thank you again to the Pakistan-Canada Association for all the work you do in the community. The one thing that comes up most at the doors is everyone is very, very concerned about the economy. People are getting laid off left, right, and center. I have met so many of our friends and neighbors who have recently lost their jobs. That is the one thing that people want, is a plan to create jobs and make sure that we can get through this economic downturn. I have a plan on that. This is a plan that I am happy to say I can work with existing city councillors, Michael Walters in particular. This is a plan that will help diversify Edmonton's economy so that we're not as reliant on the current drivers of our economy. And it's a plan that's going to set us up for prosperity for the long run. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. It's very important for us today. Yes, economy is there, but what is happening with the economy, with the layoffs? There's a big crime in the city. Actually, it's increasing every day. We have seen so many people frustrated from the jobs. First priority, first issue of today in Edmonton is how to stop it. And yes, the jobs are related to that, how to create more jobs, more infrastructure for the city. As a councillor, it's as a one vote, it's the only one opportunity for this ward, but as a councillor, I will work with other council members take input from the ward residents, then I will decide. And I will make sure to lobby the other councillors to achieve this, and that's only the first priority I will have at the council, because many decisions are being taken without the public input. I'll make sure the public input is there. Thank you.
My big issue for the city of Edmonton and also our own ward is the homelessness that is happening. And it's happening somewhat because of the economy and the downturn in the economy, but it's not just limited to the economy. This has been a big problem in our city for years. And somehow, some way, we have to get the ear of both the provincial and federal government to sit down, talk to us, and work on solutions, like affordable housing, for instance. We could do a lot more in that area, but we're not doing it. And we're limited as a city when it comes to funding. But on the other side of it, if we deal with the issue, we can save money through our, through the police services that are out there all the time that have to deal with the issues out on the street. So I believe that's one of our big issues.
I think the biggest issue here in Ward 12, from what I've been hearing, is we need councillors who are fiscally responsible. You look at the budget, you look at the way we're spending, it's very, very irresponsible. And you look at a lot of the councillors who are on council right now, they act like we have deep pockets, they act like money grows on trees, and they don't know the value of the dollar. And a lot of our issues come from irresponsible spending. It needs to be fixed as long as we have a fiscally responsible voice and people who actually know the value of the dollar and respect the Canadian dollar. So one of the biggest things is getting on council and telling people that the city is tired of irresponsible spending, and they're tired of councillors who just blow money like it just grows on trees. We need to start budgeting, and we need to start doing it very, very quickly. And the second thing is the public opinion as well, because a lot of people feel like they're not being heard. Councillors right now are just doing whatever they think is best without even consulting their constituents, and it's wrong. So fiscal responsibility and listening to the public, those are the two big things for me.
Thank you for the question. So I'll be very brief because that was the request of the person asking the question. For me, having the experience working with the city of Edmonton, I know how we do things well, but I also know how we do things very, very poorly. And one of the key places this happens is when we hand out contracts to external vendors to do work on behalf of the city. And we just have to look at what happened with the Metro line as one example. And also, I'm sure some of you might be familiar with the waste management fiasco as well that happened, where money and contracts were handed out with zero to no oversight. My biggest push would be to find accountability measures within how contracts are handed out. Why that's important is because that allows us to find inefficiencies in how money is being spent. And if we find inefficiencies in how money is being spent, we can pivot those to allow for better service delivery for much needed services. So that'd be my key priority when elected to City Council. Thank you.
So one of the issues that I think is the most important is fiscal responsibility. As I mentioned earlier with the property tax increases, when they were able to adjust the amount, it's that property tax increases were a first response instead of a last resort. So I have a few key areas that I would like to look into the budget where I found that we are overspending. So that would be my priority. And from there, we can fix a lot of our problems just by freeing up some of the unnecessary spending. We can provide more accessibility. We can provide more programs. We can even have a greener future just by saving money. So that's what I would look at as if elected as City Council. And if not elected, I have faith in all of my fellow candidates that I can approach them, and they will take a realistic approach at mandates.
Thank you. One of the issues with the city is there is no long-range planning. And because of that, there is excessive waste of money. And look at the LRT, for instance. If they would have, 30 plus years ago, they could have used the CN-CPR tracks, and we would have had an LRT all the way to Calgary, and we would have had one all the way to the West End. In Ellerslie, if you live in that area, the houses are so close that that you could shake hands with your neighbor. The roads are so narrow. If there was a blizzard, how would they remove the snow? If there was a fire, all those houses would just go up in smoke, one after the other. So it's very bureaucratic in City Hall. I have experienced, I've seen it myself. And I'm used to in legal, you make a decision and it's done. And we need to have more people there that are going to make decisions and follow through. Thank you so much.
Other than fiscal spending, the most important issue I think is transportation, and that includes transit and roads. So I have a list of recommendations for transit changes on a low budget that can be done overnight, including changing express route numbers. So there's a whole bunch of 60s that go from downtown to Millwoods. They can all be changed to an 8X express route, and that resolves a lot of overcrowding issues. Again, there's like a list of 12 things there. I would have a tram system to connect the spokes of the LRT that's planned. I would have increased road access to Parsons Road, 66th Street, Meadows Rec Center. Right now is currently serviced by one-lane access from every direction. LRT future planning would not be on road surface, so it could be cheaper by digging out the road, put the track in, and put the road back on top instead of a tunnel. I would have more Henday connections, roads designed for their speed, increase access from 50th Street to Beaumont for the prosperity of Ward 12. We need people to come in and shop. We need those people to come in easily. And I have other things. If I could save you an hour of your time every single day, what would it mean to you and your family?
For me, the biggest challenge with Ward 12 was the growth. Ward 12 is the fastest growing section of the city, and I want to ensure that our tax dollars go towards being here in our area that will take the best city services and improve the quality of life here in Ward 12, such as transportation, infrastructure, police. And I do believe that the taxpayers do deserve the best value for the city services. And infrastructure is a huge concern for me, and it's what I'm hearing at the door. And if I'm not successful, and I will continue to advocate through the successful candidate to make sure that the services that we need are here for us. I have a proven track record of building schools on the school board, and I have been successful in accommodating the people that live here. I want to continue that success as your counselor. Thank you.
The most important issue that has come to my attention during door knocking is public safety. People want to be feeling safe, and they want to be safe in and around their homes in the whole city. We can definitely achieve safety, improve on it by collaborating with other city and provincial departments to make sure we're not doing redundant work on the same issues over and over again. And the other thing is that even the police, we are given a limited budget, whatever it is. We need to make sure that we use that money and resources efficiently to bring the best service for our citizens. And I will make sure that in the city council, I will make sure that your tax dollars and your other taxes from the other resources, they're spent properly. Thank you.
Thank you. The question that I heard was about the city and the world. And to me, I'm going to try and drag Edmonton into the new millennium with this, but I think the biggest problem facing us is climate change. I know a lot of people don't believe in it. One of my best friends is a climate scientist. He says there aren't any credible climate scientists who are actually downplaying global warming anymore. The only issue is what will happen. The issue of CO2 is bigger than terrorism to me. If I was elected, I'd promote green technology. I would invite the businesses and research leaders to Edmonton. The economy is a cyclical problem. It will get better. I'm very positive that things in 2 years are going to be rocking in Edmonton. Hopefully some of these young graduates in NAIT who are studying green technology will have a very, very well-paying job to enter by the time I've served my first term. NMAX installs power, solar power on people's roofs, buys the power back. Epcor does not. That is something I will do. Also, build a solar farm between them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My most important issue is domestic violence. As you guys know, the Edmonton Police receives 21 calls every day on domestic violence. And during the domestic violence, it's not only the females or ladies suffer, men, children, everybody's involved in the domestic violence. What I would do, I would make sure that we bring awareness into our community and connect the community to the residents, to the services, and building a network of leaders who can get involved into it, and making the services and the institution accountable to the community. If I'm elected or if I'm not elected, I have already been working on this and I will continue working with it. Thank you.
There is a last important issue, the safer community, overspending, affordable housing. Like, how do we gonna do that? The first, we have to control the overspending. Cities overspending, some projects are like $33 million over budget. When we control that thing, those money we can give to the police budget, we can spend on the affordable housing, we can spend on the safer community. So please, the one thing, we first have to control the overspending. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. What the number one problem is? Lack of common sense. Right there, it all starts with that. What do? I speak to power. I use common sense. I honor people who speak with common sense, like Councillor Mike Nicol. What I will do if I'm not elected is I will continue to do that. I will continue to serve, and I will continue to do that, and I will continue to get everyone to realize that that's what needs to happen. We need to speak with common sense, and we need to work smarter, not harder. If I'm elected, that will work much better for you, trust me.
What I could understand from door knocking is there are two bigger issues. One is for my seniors sitting before me. They want washrooms in parks. Why can't there be washrooms? Everywhere in the world there are washrooms in the parks, and every other parks in the city, they have washrooms. Why not in our part 12? Second is snow removal policy. If you are living in Ontario, if you are living in Quebec, even sidewalk is the responsibility of the city to clean mechanically. Why not here in Edmonton? So these are the two issues. Others are, I would like to share with all of you, our budget, operational budget of city is $262,000 per hour. $262,000 per hour. Where that money is going, people are concerned. So city should be accountable and transparent. Thank you so much.
I'd like to start with, we need to bring everybody together. Besides all the financial things that we have to deal with, those are just set. You can't do anything about that. But people can come together and make one of us a voice for you. And I hear a lot of people being very passionate about that. So it's going to be a very difficult decision for you. Going back to seniors, we can garner a lot of wisdom from seniors, and that would be going to them. And part of the solution is like children and seniors, bringing them together. Having those kind of connections in the community. Those are things that money can't buy, but can bring us together and give more power to what we can do. Because during these hard economic times, that's all that we kind of have. And all the financial stuff will just be what it is. But looking to the past, we can see the future, and we're all going to get good going forward. We've been through it before, we'll go again.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Now I would like to invite Preetam Sharma from Council of India Society. Mr. Preetam Sharma.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for your desire to serve the people of Ward 12. And I hope this passion will continue after the February 12th regardless of results. My question, I've been hearing the same thing from all of you, the taxes, the LRT. Just tell me one thing about you that makes you stand out, that separates you from the other people. Just one thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that question. And I can tell you one thing about me. I'm the only one who spent thousands of hours voluntarily in the City Hall already. So I have the experience and I know how the City Council works. So I can bring together all the councillors for our issues, for the issues of our residents in Ward 12, and overall issues of Edmontonians. And if I become a councillor, I will be dedicated to making this city of Edmonton #1 clean, #1 innovative, #1 in everything, not bringing the Uber #1. Thank you.
I guess if it was one thing, I would say that I am very passionate to the residents of our community. I would have the respect for everybody on their opinions, regardless of any other absences of I don't know, I've got to be careful on my choosing of words here, but I am very passionate and I've always worked to represent people regardless of wherever I have been or where I've worked. But that's my one key thing.
I guess the one thing that makes me stand up for the other candidates is my commitment to the community. I mean, I run all these local community initiatives, and I just do my part to make sure that Edmonton grows better and we can all live here and call this a city that we can call home. Of course, other things that make me stand out, I guess you could say, is just my reputation. I have a reputation around not only Edmonton, but around Alberta, even Western Canada, as someone who's a hard worker, someone who's a man of the people, and someone who sticks up for the little guy. And I'm also a great listener as well. So I mean, between those things, I'm a man of the community, and I want to continue working for you on a different level as well.
So thank you for the question. I have the most municipal government experience here at the policy development level. If you ask any of my colleagues at the Edmonton Police Service, at the City of Edmonton, I'm a very strong consensus builder, and that's important to be a strong voice on council for the residents of Ward 12. And that's what I bring to the table, and that's what my commitment is to be that strong voice to advocate for the best of the interests of the ward and to build a great city with sincerity. Thank you.
I think what makes me stand out from my fellow candidates here is that I spent from early 2009 until late 2015 living in poverty in affordable housing. I have a recent viewpoint of how the system works and where it's broken. I know where we can look at to try and make it more efficient and make it so that the program works. I have seen, while living there, a waiting list of over 2,000 people, and then units in my complex sit vacant for 8 months at a time. That's the kind of thing that we need to put an end to. I also, while I was there, I noticed that there's multiple kinds of residents. There's some that are there with temporary intentions and some that are there with permanent intentions. The ones that are there with temporary, they end up becoming permanent residents because the system ends up keeping them there. There's no programs to try and help them get out, to try and provide a better life for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Throughout my business career, I have always strived to excel and be successful in business. I am very frugal in spending on my personal life as well as public money. I do not waste money. I'm a workaholic, and through the years I've demonstrated that by working 2 or 3 jobs at a time, and that's probably why I did so many things in my lifetime. No, I have full-time dedication to my job. I have no other business to run, so my days are not split between 2 masters, nor are my thoughts. I'm 100% focused on the responsibilities and fully committed to focusing all my time on my job and not on any personal agenda. Now, my relation, okay, that's fine, thank you. I'll use the rest in closing, thank you.
Everyone's going to promise safer communities, fiscal responsibility, and better transit. Don't look on your past associations with community-oriented things. Everyone here has done a great job, advancing their community. I have a detailed plan laid out. If you want to take a look at it on my website, everything is laid out in full. I've written essays on every single subject. I am the man with a plan, and that's all that matters.
I have proven experience for Ward 12. I am a strong, experienced voice, somebody who has worked with all levels of government, from the city to the province to federal. Being on the school board has given me great experience on listening to constituents to develop the best practices that will move us forward. In my role as trustee, I have implemented and I have been involved in ward and citywide consultations. And this experience and practice, and I will use this in my role as city council.
Hello. My main asset is teamwork. Throughout my life and even in my work experience, I have heavily dependent upon the teams. A person is only good as that person's team is. I have proven that through Vision 2020 push-up project, that's a multi-million-dollar in the southeast corner of southeast Edmonton. It's a multi-tournament sports and recreation site. I worked with the other partners in that recreation site. I worked with the city officials. I worked with the provincial government and the federal government to obtain, and more importantly, all the people, visitors and residents of Ward 12. That's where the funding came from, and I have been able to successfully do that, and I will continue to do so when I become a city councillor. Thank you.
Hello, I'm number 7 on the ballot, if you're lucky number 7. But what I bring to the table is proven experience. I'm an honest person, I'm passionate, I'm progressive. A 72-hour work week is no big deal to me with scars, happens all the time. I even volunteer on top of that 72-hour work week with my condo board. Ever since I bought into this condo 14 years ago, I've been on the board because I don't want someone else running my own business life, I guess. We're handling my important purchase. So I've been a condo board member for 14 years. I'm almost 7 years as president. And nobody else on these Facebook pages, which have been empty the whole campaign until now, has this kind of experience. People are telling me, talk about that, so I am. Sewers, roads, garbage, pets, enforcement issues, safety and enjoyment of your property. We balance budgets on a regular basis or raise taxes with special assessment. Thank you.
Thanks, Preeti Sharma. I have spent numerous hours with many community organizations as a volunteer. Just to name a few, Sikh Women's Association, Canadian Blood Cancer Society, where you just go and spend hours and hours with patient those who don't have any family members. I have found few of them already in my introduction, and I am committed and I am passionate about community, and just wanted to tell you I'm one and only female in Edmonton Transit who can teach LRT. And that tells you I'm dedicated. If I wanted to achieve anything, I am there. I'm committed and I'm passionate about it. Thank you.
The first small answer. I am a very good listener and approachable. and good volunteer for the all community, not the one community, community at large. Okay, what I can bring? I bring a vast experience. I know people have talked about this and that. I have experienced a lot. I was not served with a silver spoon. I have made my life myself. I'm very progressive. However, I believe in accountability. Residents of Ward 12 should understand that we are our employees. When it's time to appraise us, my goal is to deliver the way they would like me to perform. I have only one interest, that is Ward 12. I would like to build bridges with the residents as well as all the councillors, so that together we can create a ward that we all can be very proud of. Thank you.
I'm well spoken. I don't have a spirit of fear. I am a bearer of the uncommon common sense. But if you want to know one thing that sets me apart, and one thing that I think will make me the best city councillor, is that I have in my heart a willingness and a desire to serve. Thank you.
My passion for public service has taken me to all the communities. And with great pride, I declare here today that I belong to every community, and that would be demonstrated by each and every of them on 22nd of February. I'm all people person. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll be very short. I care, I'm listening, and I'll quote a very good man, Albert Einstein. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. And I'm one of them. Thank you.
This is a very good point. In a field of 32 candidates, you need a way to find the candidate that speaks most to you. 2/3 of our ward is under the age of 40, and I'm one of them. We need to elect someone who takes a 50-year view to making decisions. Too many of the decisions the council has made in the last few years are made with a 4-year perspective until the next election. I've lived in the city my entire life in Southeast Edmonton, and I want to make sure that the decisions the council makes today and tomorrow are the decisions that I can live with for the next 50 years. Because we need someone who will create more opportunities for young people in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Before we invite the next guest for the question, is a slight change in the format now. So because there are a lot of questions and we are trying to do the timing too. So next question will be answered by the first 8 candidates, and then we will go next person will ask, next 8 candidates will answer. Is this fair enough? Because reason being, I tell you honestly, let you guys take it.
No, we cannot do that. We cannot do that.
How we told, and then it's like husbands, right? Like we just told, we do what have been told to whom. So as a husband, I have learned one thing. First thing you get up in the morning and say sorry. Sorry. So I would invite Alexander Dalmore for the next question. Whatever I said, delete it. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible? Okay, good. Just to be clear again, every candidate will have the opportunity to answer this, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The upcoming Valley Line expansion for the LRT is a P3, a public-private partnership. That's what it's classified as. Without too much generalization, I might describe it as the city contracting this out to private companies to handle. To the candidates, are you for or against P3s? Do you believe they're in the interest of the city and by extension the taxpayers? Why or why not?
Can I ask, are you referring to P3 with this LRT development?
We can get to that specific if you like, but I actually would prefer more generally, do you think P3s in general are in our interest? The Valley Line is just the example that sprung to mind.
I personally am not in favor of P3s. I have done some research, and also as a past president of the Labor Council, had commissioned Parkland Institute to work on a project with us on the creation of the P3 for the LRT, the current LRT in Edmonton. And even after that report was done by Parkland Institute, there was no proof out there that it was better for the city to contract it out. It was better for us to keep it in-house and serviced by our technicians and controlled by our city transportation. But you're not seeing that now. With this current P3, they are contracting out everything, including the servicing and maintenance.
Well, P3s are kind of a tricky thing because a lot of studies have shown that the city ends up paying more money in the end and they're not fiscally responsible. But when it comes to things like smaller projects, like, well, not smaller projects, but things like Candidate and things like that, we use the P3 model and it works fantastically. We're using a P3 model for the Valley Line, and you know what, when it comes to our public transit system, obviously Edmonton doesn't have the money to even think of funding this, so we need to move into a P3 model. When it comes to public transit though, it's a little bit iffy, in my opinion, because right now the businesses are going to reap the rewards of our public transit system. And who knows, it might be a hit. But it also gets them invested in building their routes right. I mean, because if the city was going to build it by itself, we wouldn't be able to take it underground in certain areas, and we'd be cutting off certain intersections as well. So for the P3 for the Valley Line, I think it's a good idea, and I think it's going to get the transit built, and people want transit. I mean, studies have shown that here in Millwoods, in the Millwoods area, the Valley Line needs to be built, it needs to be built quick.
Thank you for your question. I'll be real briefly here too. So P3s are one aspect of funding projects, right? But they're very heavily dependent on a number of different conditions. So not every project should be funded by a P3. At the same time, however, the last variation of our federal government was more mindful of funding P3 projects. So the city, for example, needing to build a service for the citizens, if that was the one way to get funding, if that was the way that they would be able to go through with it with P3. They do provide innovation, so I do like that aspect of them by allowing the private industry to provide innovation and design. However, as was mentioned earlier, a big concern though is at the other end of the project. So once it's built, if management and maintenance of it goes towards the private vendors, that's where you lose out on the efficiency. Because now you add another layer of bureaucracy to get some of the work done. Thank you. So I said yes, I'm in favor, but they're heavily dependent on the project. Thank you.
So I think it depends on the individual project. For the Valley Line LRT, I am in favor of it. But for future projects, I would like to, sometimes it makes sense to use a P3 model, and sometimes it doesn't. I think that when we're looking for funding for projects, we should know what kind of funding model do we use. Do we try to borrow it? Do we cut expenses from something else or reallocate funds somewhere, or do we use a P3 model?
It can be very tricky, and if we are going to do P3s, I would be in agreement if the city was being monitored, because I have seen my personal experience while working for Councillor Khaira, that companies bid low on a job and then they get it, and then they are over budget and the city has to pay the shortfall. I am not in agreement with that. They should be held to whatever they bid on a job so that the best contractor gets the job. Now, we've seen that happen with the waste management compost plant, where the city had to pay all the shortfall, and then when they left the project, the city even paid them to leave. I was completely against that. The Legacy project in 2004, again, the city paid the downfall, the shortfall. So if we are, I think it's a good idea, but it has to have proper monitoring. Thank you.
I'm fully in support of P3s as long as they're done properly. I come from Hong Kong, where the entire entire TR subway system was built after the LRT started being built here. That whole system was done by a private company, and it was contracted by the government. I don't think any private company, if you gave them the option to plan the entire system, would have built the entire valley line on the surface. I don't think anyone would have done that. It's just stupidity. So when you're doing a P3, everything has to be entrusted to the company that you're going to do the job in, and that's how a P3 should work.
Thank you. Yes, again, best value for our dollars. I do like partnering with business, and I think that if the city councilor is monitoring and making sure that it is a success, then we will have a opportunity to provide the best services for the people that live in Edmonton. So yes, I do agree with it.
Hello, I'm definitely for P3. Due to the fluctuations in our economic situation, we cannot have our city at standstill. We need to move forward. But the main thing is, with the P3 projects, we need to make sure that there is strong oversight, accountability, and we need to make sure the projects are completed on time and within budget. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Just a humble request, small request. If we could please wait till the form is closed, before we go for the snacks. If we could please have a seat, let the question answers goes on, and once they're all over, we will proceed for the snacks. Thanks a lot for your cooperation. Really appreciate it.
Don't get me talking about threes. In my condo complex, for instance, I have experience in tendering contracts out to corporations. We pay them one time for a job well done for services rendered. As far as it goes with some of the projects we're talking about, the LRT, that's the one thing I would like to change with the LRT to Millwoods. I'm not sure it's possible now. I think funding's in place, and it might not be in the ability of this next councillor to change that. That said, I asked Millwoods residents what they say about it, and people in the rest of Ward 12. And every single one of them, whether they're a driver or a rider, says it has to be built now. No exceptions. We can't wait another 20 years and let Mother Nature pay the consequences. But I hate to use the word special, but an interest group asked me to include a question in what I asked people. I said 5 times whether to change the route through the valley, and nobody agreed with me.
Thank you. When it comes to P3 projects are divided into 5 different phases. First is design, the construction, the operation, finance, and the maintenance. I'm totally fine if it's a P3 for construction or the design, but I am absolutely not in favor of operation goes to a private company, especially comes to an LRT line. This is city workers who's supposed to be operating the train, but that's not how it went. I am not in favor of P3 project. Thank you.
P3, public-private partnership. It is a good program where the taxpayer doesn't have to pay on upfront. It is cost-effective way. About LRT, LRT project, as far as I understanding, funding and right-of-way has been done. We can't do anything. So they will be giving out the contract very soon. As a councillor, I want to make sure that this project goes on without any delay. I would like that this project is delivered on time and cost-effective manner. We have to learn from our mistake. I believe it's not a mistake if you learn from it. And we had so many issues with LRT in the city. We have to make sure that this project up to Melbourne town center goes smoothly, and then we have to make sure that it does not end over there. It goes all the way to the meadows. Sorry, and I have to leave. I have another commitment, and I request, so I have to leave for this question. Thank you.
P3s are a tool. If I had a carpenter building my house, I would say to the carpenter, no saws, please. You can't use saws when you're building my house. Similarly, if I saw the carpenter trying to pound a nail with a saw because I told him he couldn't have a hammer, it would be similarly ridiculous. Use the proper tools for the job. If a P3 is the popular tool for the job, then I'm in favor of it.
P3 is applicable on case-to-case basis, and as far as LRT goes, $700 million are down the drain. It is delayed for 2 years, and LRT per kilometer is the costliest line in the world. So looking into present scenario, if you want to have valley line, I support P3. Thank you.
I'm against private-public partnerships because a lot of times in the past and what people have seen, the private enterprise leaves, like say during hard economic times like right now. And we need to look to the federal government and our Alberta government to get behind us to complete this infrastructure right now. Because this is the time to build and to employ people. Also too, I kind of went on an archaeological discovery looking at the lay of the land. It would be easy to run lines above ground and out of traffic, coming all the way from Southgate, down Whitewood Freeway, down 91st Avenue, just to start. That can be done quickly and easily. I've seen how fast buildings can go up nowadays with all the preformed concrete and stuff like that. We can employ that. But keep all the work here in Edmonton. Well, at least keep it all in Alberta if we can. Don't outsource it. Thank you.
Thank you for that question on P3s. Public-private partnerships, as fellow candidate Khaira outlined, they function as a tool for building and financing big infrastructure projects. The previous federal government enforced it on every project. The current government is sending signals that it won't be enforcing it on every project. It depends on the project. It's a tool in the toolkit. The Henday and the Stony Trail in Calgary were built as P3s. We've had them built on time and on budget. Maintenance and repair is taken care of by the contractor. The public school bill that the province is undertaking as a P3 failed, it was far too large. You can't have ideologically motivated or populist-based positions on how to build infrastructure. You need to base it on sound fiscal principles and use the correct tool to do the right job. Thank you.
Thank you. P3 actually from southeast LRT to Lewis Farms, it has to be built in, but for 18 months it's already, they debated, they already chose a company that is already in place. So I think we can't do enough now to stop it, but the thing is, we had learned from the previous projects, like especially the schools were built through P3, and we know we didn't learn the lesson from those, and also so many projects were delayed. So personally, I'm not for the P3, but project-based, as they chose this because of lack of funding and other restrictions, at least if there are delays, they can transfer the cost to the contractors. Because this time, city, I think, chose the best contractors in the world, like including Bombardier and other companies. Like there's 7-8 companies group there. So it's a project based, but still we have to manage it properly. We have to make accountable our management to run any project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidates, for your answers. So the next person that we're going to call to ask their question is the president of the South Asian Long-Term Care Foundation, Harchand Gurwal.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Press Council of Edmonton for arranging this forum. It's very informative and a lot of the questions being answered, and I think they have been answered honestly. Now, as you're aware that this last City Council set aside 8 sites for senior housing. Now, the question of the taxes for seniors, of the security for seniors has come up, but I think more important than that is the housing for seniors. Now, in the last 3 years, out of those 8, the council has approved only 1 project, and which happens to be in the southeast sector, which happens to be the project which we are collaborating with the GPF. Now, my question to you is, if you are elected as a councillor, what would you do to expedite the development of those at least 8 sites, if not more, for the senior housing in the city of Edmonton? You're representing not just the Ward 12, actually Mr. Sohi, who represented Ward 12, he was very, very instrumental in bringing that project to, first to set the sites for senior housing, and then to bring the project to this southeast city.
School surplus sites? Yes. So I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier in one of my other questions, but I think the biggest part is we're not going to stop at the 8 units being built for seniors. We're going to get a lot more, because a city council that works with developers is a city council that works good for the people. And what we're going to start doing is we're going to mandate, we're going to legislate that these new areas, and once we get into the annexation of Leduc, there's going to be a whole lot more land. And we need to have this discussion now and get these programs in motion. We need to be making sure that a percentage of this new development, a percentage of new areas, are for people like seniors, lone families, single parents, basically social housing. We need social housing, we need affordable housing, we need seniors housing, and that's easily achievable as long as City Council grows a spine and mandates and works with developers and tells the developers what to do, that we need a certain percentage of housing for seniors, lone families, single parents, etc. Because right now, not everyone can afford these $500,000 homes that are being built all around these new areas. And I'm not in favor of flying over all the things. Well, we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I know with these school surplus sites that were being referred to here, the key issue, I was on the website actually yesterday just by chance, and they're talking about how they have been identified, but funding, of course, is the key issue, right? And I think at this point, it's important to work with the Human Service Ministry, for example, within the province, to ensure that this is no longer just an issue we can ignore. This is one that needs immediate action. As a council, that's where you can advocate with the provincial government. It's good that sites have been earmarked, especially in the ward, but I remember driving by the site you're talking about, and it just has a sign saying, senior housing coming soon. We need more tangible answers than just that. And when I went to the city's website, the current status of it, as I'm sure you're very aware of, is it's been ready to go, but there's no funding in place. And there's no timeline in terms of when that funding will be in place. That's where the advocate on behalf of the neighborhood on city council level can at least identify a timeline. One of the concerns, I'll leave it at that.
So as our friend touched on, there's a lot of funding issues on what's causing the delay. The majority of my platform seeks to try and free up those monetary resources so that we can expedite the processes on building those homes. Like I've said, I've recently lived in subsidized housing. I know where there's areas there for improvement just internally in that department. And so I think that there's a lot of room for improvement that we can be made just by even simply taking a look at it and saying, do we need to spend on this? Why are we doing that? That's really just what needs to be done, is we just need to communicate better and try to ensure that these projects get completed in a timely fashion. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. That's a very good one. My mom was a senior, and she lived in a senior's home, but in Leduc. Now, notwithstanding that senior housing is required, it should be spaced throughout the city, so wherever someone lives, they can be close to their family and friends, so they're not completely isolated. And in order to speak to an issue intelligently, I'm one that I like to review the documentation that's being provided by the administration, and other areas of government, and then do my own investigations, and then look at how this can be done. But I would be very, very committed to having this bill, because this is a need. What I was speaking about earlier, we need to spend on needs and not wants. And this is a need for seniors. And it has to be an accommodation that they're not squashed in one little room, but they have to have some room so they can live with dignity. Thank you.
I'll be honest here, I don't know too much about the senior sites. So what I would definitely do, because we have a huge aging population coming up, and also the birth rate is low, which means that there's not going to be a lot of people supporting those seniors, we need to see different options to get this working. Every level of government is broke. There's no money. So we need to find a different way of approaching this. I would look at how Shepherd Gardens was built, and look at if there's another company that wants to do something like that, the city would allow them to build that if a certain amount of units were allocated for senior housing. So that's how I would approach the subject there.
Thank you. I think you're correct. We need to hurry up and build our seniors housing. And we need to partner with business and nonprofits, the ones that are able to help us get this need completed. Our tax dollars should go towards Ward 12, and we need to start looking long-term and allocating money where people live. And that means right here in Ward 12. It means making our money work through our budgets, and to make our money work for residents. This is a need that will continue to grow. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Dorwell. Very good question. Edmonton, especially Canada, is built on multiculturalism. In Edmonton, there are so many agencies that are willing to help out in the seniors department. I think the city needs to consult and in collaboration with the other agencies, the other levels of the government, whether it's provincial, federal, we can accommodate and we can accomplish all 8 senior homes that were approved in principle, so that we can address the needs of our senior citizens who it is our duty to accommodate them. Thank you.
I think this question is structured a little wrong, because looking after seniors is a provincial issue. It's the same with fighting poverty is a provincial issue. So I would work with the provincial government. I don't care if people like Rachel Notley or not. She might not be in power for more, but regardless of the flavor of provincial government, I would work with them to improve senior housing. There is not a lot of senior housing in this ward. I checked on that earlier on in the campaign. But yeah, one thing that's been lacking in this campaign is the focus on municipal issues. And I think we really we got to get our platforms from everybody focused only on municipal issues. When it comes to business, I don't force business to do anything. I'm not backed by any businesses at all. I agree with appropriate zoning. We've seen zoning go wrong in Edmonton, including Larkspur, where they're upset about the P3 development by Velma E. Baker's school. So upset that people were putting up signs and getting fined by expressing their opinion in a democracy. It should be allowed.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to Ranjit, because you already been working in that area for so many years. 8 of these surplus school sites have been identified for construction of new seniors home. And as a matter of fact, a couple of them falls in our ward, such as Saka and Christie Garden. If I get elected, I want to make sure that I will advocate stopping the mismanagement of the money, and with transparency to every tax dollar, we will soon have enough money to expedite these projects. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Seniors are our wisdom trust. We need to address their needs. We don't have a choice. Now, in Sherwood Park had to come up with one of these. They approached multi-levels of private donors. They set up a nonprofit organization. They worked with churches. They worked with the community leaders, and they all worked together to build that. We have more of that than they do. We have more churches. We have more nonprofit organizations. We have the best volunteer community in the world per capita. We just have to be not afraid to join hands and realize that we have to work together to meet our needs.
City has $4.3 billion capital budget till 2018. And if you would agree with me, there is also snow removal surplus in the city. So those pockets should be looked into, and we should provide some funds for developing these 8 sites. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm glad we came up with this issue because it comes around to what we were talking about, seniors and children, right? We need to build a seniors facility so that we can take care of the seniors. We need to build schools. Well, I saw a model when I ran last time, it was presented to me, that they're running in Europe where they have a K-6 school attached to a senior's home. So all these seniors that have all this wonderful stuff to share with our children, to give them a really solid foundation in their education, can come and work with the kids daily and give them an activity to fulfill their lives and, you know, for the future of our children and everything. And if we can do that and bring both institutions together, that would be great. Even if we could even bus some, you know, seniors in to that facility every day if they're disabled. You know, but we can't have people that are, okay, well, that's all. Thank you.
The idea of putting seniors' homes on school surplus sites is something that speaks to my heart. I was very fortunate to grow up in a multi-generational family. My grandparents lived with me until they passed. They helped raise my sister and me. So the idea of turning multi-generational households to a larger scale, multi-generational neighborhoods, this is a fantastic opportunity to help raise our children alongside our community's elders, so that we can continue to share the family and community values for the next generation. We need to partner with our faith communities. They were the first ones in this province to build seniors' homes. The Affordable Supported Living Initiative, ASLI program provincially, was supposed to eventually partner with these communities. The big success for that is the Winkey facility in Calgary, built by the Chinese Christian community. And I think we have an opportunity to move forward on all these projects and make sure that we have a higher quality of life, not just for our seniors, but for our next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone has to become a senior one day. At that age, everybody needs affordable housing. So we have to start with that. And I am following this with your association even for the last few years, as Councillor Sohi identified and even the city identified those, but Councillor Sohi was able to make that on the southeast. That was his efforts. But that's not even in Ward 12, so we have to extend that to Ward 12 as well. And I promise that if I become a councillor, I will continue working on that. The pre-plan plus one senior, at least, house for the Ward 12. Thank you.
Thank you. Pardon my ignorance, but I didn't know anything about this, it's something I definitely would work on. But I have to agree with one of the other previous speakers that although the grounds have been approved, we need the money to build. And if the NDP, and it's not if, the NDP has already said that they're going to go over budget spending on infrastructure. So what we need is somebody who has, or who can advocate on behalf of this need. And it is a great need, there's no doubt about it. So, you know, as a city councillor, I would put pressure on our mayor when dealing with the needs for infrastructure funding, that he go after this type of funding for the first senior facility to be built.
I think that's all our candidates. candidates at this point? Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Now we would like to invite Singh Judgy from Senior Society. Mr. Judgy.
Good afternoon, Sat Sri Akal and Salam. I wish all the candidates good luck. And my question is, there is a recession in Alberta, and on the other hand, there is a raise in the salaries of councillors, city councillors. What do you feel about it? Thank you.
Mr. Judgy, could you please explain your question?
You explain.
Ask the question once more.
My question is,
Just for us.
there is a recession in Alberta, and on the other hand, there is raise in the salaries of the city councillors. How do you feel about it?
Okay, thank you. So that's a very good question. I know the last round of council deliberations, when they had identified if they wanted to keep their increase in salary or not. The previous years they had said no. The last round they said yes, they took that. I think me personally as a city councillor, it's a privilege to be in that position. I would always look for the best interest for the community. I would always vote no to an increase for a councillor's salary just because it's fairly decently compensated as it is. And I think it's important to always show fiscal restraint during those times where there is issues elsewhere. So I definitely would always vote not in favor of council increase in our salary. Thank you.
So as you mentioned, we are in recession right now. We do have a down economy, and there was a proposal to increase property taxes, and that is going to go through. And at the same time, yes, councillors did take a raise, and so again, that's coming back to raising property taxes being the first response. The raise you're talking about, it was only a 0.88% raise as opposed to the inflation of 1.1% right now. But at that point, it turns into a difference of about $70 a month. And as a councillor, I'm not in that big of a need for $70 a month. I would rather see every dollar available going back into the budget. Thank you.
That's a very good question. There are people in this city that are unemployed. They cannot meet their needs. They're hard to feed their family. They can't even live in dignity because they have to go to the food bank to get food to feed their family. I don't even know what the councillors get paid now. I haven't even looked because my concern was I wanted to serve and be a public official, but I would be against a raise because I know they do get paid very well and a substantial amount is tax-free. Plus they have an expense account. So I would be against a further increase.
The citizens are the stakeholders, and the stakeholders should be deciding whether or not the council gets a raise or not. So if we did a good job, then we get a raise. If we don't do a good job, then they don't get a raise. And it could be selected among a panel of people to decide that. But I think the formula should be figured out by deflation and inflation, and also, of course, by a recessional rate. So there's lots of engineers out there. I'm sure we can figure out something. So if there's a lot of people losing jobs, then we don't get a raise because people are losing jobs. It's pretty simple.
Thank you. At the door, I hear huge concerns about the downturn in the economy. And I would also vote no to having a raise, especially during the remainder of this term. It relates to when this by-election is over and then we go into the normal election with everybody in the city. And at that time, you have an opportunity to elect us or not elect us. And I think that's your right as a voter. So I would put it in your hands to make sure that the right person is representing you in Ward 12 and the city.
with the recession in Alberta. People are losing their jobs, people are losing their businesses. With the city councillors approving a raise for themselves, it would be like conflict of interest, for sure. I think you guys are the bosses, you folks are the bosses, you guys should be deciding what the city councillors should be getting, and there definitely needs to be hold on any wage increases and with the city councillors, at least for this time till the economic situation improves. Thank you.
Again, I think this question is a little misdirected as well. Councillor salaries aren't decided by council, they're decided by an arm's length board. The idea was to attract excellent candidates with community service background. They would have to be paid what they would in the private service or non-profit sectors. I don't believe in gimmicks. I think a couple of people have come up with gimmicks to donate $10,000 or $20,000 of their salary to charities. People laugh at that. They say it's non-enforceable. I agree with that. If increases and decreases were part of my responsibility, I'd say if you have a 5% increase in taxes every year, your councillor's salary should go down 5% every year to reflect that. Me personally, I have a well-paying job. I left a well-paying job with Stars. I would earn $2,000 more doing this job, which would pay for my child care. I donate the same amount as percentages as I do now. Thank you.
Thank you for the great question. If I get elected, I will bring a motion to the current councillor and would be able to give them a salary raise. I can't decide to give them a salary raise. It doesn't sound ethically right to give them their salary raise. If I don't get elected, whoever get elected would bring this motion to the table. And at the same time, I would say all the councillors get $400 per month, their car allowance. You, me, everybody else go to work. Why can't we get $400 per month allowance? Right? I will not take that allowance if I ever get elected, and I would encourage everybody else not to. And that would save us about $62,000 for the city that can be used on other resources. Thank you.
For your information, city councillors in 2015 will make $99,994 per year. Some of that's tax-free, and there's going to be vehicle allowances and budget allowances. I think that's usurious. Terry Kavanaugh once said that he couldn't believe that he made $75,000 a year and he would never vote for an increase. Well, and he lied on that because he did vote for an increase. Not only does the councillors' wages go up with the consumer price index, sweet deal if you can get it, right? How would you like that? They can bump that periodically, and they have. So I would never raise that, and I would encourage an extra dimensional, like a provincial government body or something like that, to choose the salaries that we should not be responsible for giving ourselves raises as city councillors. To me, that's just completely unethical.
It's a time to cut corners, and there is already operational budget as well as capital budget, and we're also talking about salary. I think we should be considerate enough while talking about councillor salaries, and I feel that there should be a public opinion about councillor salaries instead of getting yourself raised, which is no good. So I'm in the opinion that public consensus should be there for councillor salary. Thank you.
I can say a lot of the same things these candidates have said, but what I'm going to say is that if you vote for me, I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to spend as much as I can back into the community to all of your businesses. If I get voted in, come and see me, and I'll share with everybody. Thank you. You guys help me get that.
I'd like to thank Zora Singh Judge for the question. If you don't know, Zora Singh Judge is the recipient of Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal and is, I understand, soon to be the recipient of Governor General's Award. So please give him a round of applause. I'd like to make sure that if I am elected to City Council, I deal in fact and I don't make snap decisions based on incomplete information. So for the sake of clarity, I'd like to explain how City Council is compensated. City Council salaries are increased or decreased every single year based on the Alberta Weekly Earnings measure. We're in a recession right now. Alberta's weekly earnings are decreasing. Based on this, I'm expecting that City Council next year is going to have to vote on a salary decrease based on that measure. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to vote against an increase. There is no increase. We're all going to be facing a tightening of belts, and Council has already had a mechanism that will reflect the economy and the earning power of everyday Edmontonians. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to raise that, yes, it's a recession time, and everybody is actually suffering from that. Most of us being laid off, and it's a bad time for us. At the City Council, the residents of Edmonton, they should decide actually in the future if they can set up that way. I will be in favor of that. And also, as Mr. raised the concern of $400 per month, that is transportation charges. I mean, they give them extra money to every councillor, but no other city employees gets that. So they should be waiving that, especially during this recession time, even in the future. There's so many other things actually we should decide. This should be depending on the public what they want, because it's a public money, and all councillors get salaries from the public money, and it should be public who will be deciding how much raise they will get. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to agree with the previous speaker that the wages set for City Council are at arm's length from City Council. So we're not choosing to raise or decrease our salaries. It's based on, as was previously stated, the cost of living index, and we're not going anywhere in Alberta except down. So quite frankly, we are not going to be looking at an increase in wages. We're going to be looking at a decrease in wages. So, but if it was the other way around, I probably would, at this point, would not agree with an increase.
Keep this very short, very brief. Everyone kind of knows my opinions on politicians and the salaries they make. I think they're a little bit outrageous and bloated. Nick here is not wrong. He's referring to a separate council who decides whether council is eligible for a raise. And councillors, they can either say, you know what, we agree with that, we disagree. I would always vote for a disagree. It's like I said, I think city councilors make enough money as it is. I've also made the pledge not to expense or claim anything above. I'll take care of my own resources that I need to be a city councillor. And I also pledge to donate, even though Nick says it's a bad idea, I disagree because the people I talk to just love it. So I talk to some other people, Nick. For every year that I'm in city council, I will donate $10,000 back into the community. And these are going to be initiatives that are important to our Ward 12 residents. All while continuing my Canada initiative, which costs me a lot of money, and my local life initiative, and my other initiatives as well. So it's going to be great for the community. But no, we're not going to get any more raises.
We're going to ask one last question due to timing. Of course, it's 5:45 at this point, and so we're going to ask Ndiru Ladwa. He is the Council of India President. The President of the Council of India Society. He has a question.
Thank you very much. My name is Ndiru Ladwa, Council of India Societies of Edmonton President, and there are 21 affiliated associations under me. First of all, I would like to thank Press Council of Edmonton for conducting a wonderful forum for Councillor Ward 12. My question to all the candidates is that, as you're living in Ward 12, how much do you know about your Ward 12? Thank you.
So yes, that is a good question. Thank you. About how much do you know about Ward 12? I do not live in the ward. I will not try to hide it. I live just outside of it. And I did grow up in the ward though. I remember my experience from the community raising me, and I would like to ensure that that continues. I do try to keep it up on current events. I mean, there is a lot, no one person has all the answers, so it just comes down to doing the best that you can. And I try to focus on the things that are close to home for me. And actually, if you look at a 2-kilometer radius of my house, there is more of Ward 12 in that area than there is actually Ward 11 where I'm living. So, thank you.
Okay. What I know about Ward 12 is if you live south of Ellerslie Road, you have bumper-to-bumper traffic coming into town and going to work. That is not acceptable. Anybody who's an environmentalist, where are all the fumes going? And you need proper roads, and that's where the long-range planning again comes into effect. Also, there are acreages in Ward 12 that are surrounded by residential single-family homes, and yet these acreages have no sewer and no water service, no street lights, and no paved roads. And yet their assessments have exorbitantly increased. And I spoke to someone, and he's going to be appealing it. So he said they want to know, what are the city's plans? Are they going to accommodate them? Are they going to give them these services? So yes, we need to represent them as their counselor and find out exactly what's going to be done. That's just a couple issues.
What I know about Ward 12 is, I live in Ward 12. There aren't enough services in Ward 12. You know, every service that I have to go to, most of the restaurants, facilities and things like that, I have to go to another ward, and there's not enough services in this ward. I know it is a ward that keeps expanding, and I don't want that to continue. I want that rural area, you know, a sheep farmer isn't supposed to have his sheep, kicked out after 20 years of living there. And I want to make sure that that stays sustainable. So I want to have some urban farms along the Henday area, make this ward a better place to live. It's the same kind of place that I lived in growing up. So I just want to make sure that we also don't spend 3 hours in traffic going back and forth each way, and even 4 hours plus daily if we have to take transit.
What I know about Ward 12, it's first of all my home, and it is the fastest growing area of the city, and it needs services that we can accommodate, that we are able to live and have a great quality of life. I've seen it grow from a field to residents as well as businesses everywhere. I know it's very slippery from walking around in it, and I also know that it's a great place to live, and I truly value my home, and I want to represent it. Thank you.
Ward 12 is my home. It's my community. I will make it thriving and vibrant part of Edmonton. I have been volunteering in this ward for the last 32 years as a soccer coach for the kids. I taught their program, that's drug abuse resistance education program, in this ward for the last 16 years. I have also coached, mentored, and managed thousands of young and older people who are playing soccer and involved in other cultural events. I will continue to volunteer with the Ward 12 residents. My track record proves that I'm a person who gets things done. Let me get things done for you. Thank you.
I grew up in Daly Grove. I guess you could say entered manhood there, but I've lived in Millwoods for most of the last 20 years. I was downtown after getting married 17 years ago. But I've been up and down these streets, Millwoods, and the new areas for 20 years with Stars Air Rescue. I don't know if people people know this, but some might, but when raising money for a charity, oftentimes once they've decided to purchase or donate, most people talk about everything else. I've heard people talk about all these issues 100,000 times over and over again. And that gives me a unique perspective. I do ask people for their opinion, not always when you have to canvass a whole area by yourself. I don't need a team to do it. But that said, I also know what they're going to say in advance. The people in Ellerslie and Summerside are new friends, but I see all my old friends in Millwoods all the time. Only 30% of the people voted in this ward last time. It's not as sexy as a provincial or federal government.
Thank you very much.
We've got to stop inclusion, talk, and plebiscites.
What do I know about Ward 12? I've been living in Ward 12 for the past 25 years. I love where I live. I'm very multiculturalism. But I know there's only one rec center and it's always full. Doesn't matter when you go. We need another rec center there. There is only one senior center, and that's Laurel Heights. We need another one there. And we have no late night service into the new developed areas such as Summerside and Walkers, so is Laurel. And there's no LRD. That's what I know. I know where I need to work on those issues.
Thank you. What do I know about Ward 12? How much do I know? Take too long. I've lived in Ward 12, I've raised children in Ward 12, they've gone to school in Ward 12. I have struggled in this community, I have found solutions in this community. I brought rest areas to your green spaces. I have helped bring a sprinkler park for your children. I'm going to keep doing that stuff whether you like me or not, but if you want it better in Ward 12, you know who to vote for on February 22nd.
Ward 12 is busting at seams because of growth, and you would agree with me, in whole of city, maximum growth is happening in Ward 12. And as I have told earlier as well, we want washrooms in parks, we want better transit connections, we want vibrant and inclusive community in Ward 12. And since I am present into all the communities, I can understand the very essence of Ward 12, and I will work for it. Thank you so much.
Yes, I see Ward 12 as, from what I've watched everything develop all the way from like when I moved here with my family in '74. Some great things. I've seen men around here that I remember were working very hard then with their families, and they're continuing now and they're succeeding. Like this gentleman beside me, he's a very good example of what's happened in the woods throughout the years. And I'm proud to say that I got to observe all this and admire it and share this with you. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
This is a pretty open-ended question. I know Ward 12 only as someone who's been born, raised, educated, and worked in the area. Someone who's built Ward 12 and Southeast Edmonton. I know the issues. More importantly, I know where we come from. And our next city council needs to know that to get us where we're going. Thank you.
Ward 12 is my family for the last 21 years. I'm proud to say that my kids were born here, they've been raised there. I work for the communities in Ward 12. Also, it's one of the fastest growing families. And there's so many other things, good things about Ward 12, that we are taking so many people from the other parts of the city. We are observing them, the youngsters or the seniors, but we have lack of facilities, we have lack of so many programs there. Ward 12 will be a best ward in the city one day. Thank you.
Thank you. What do I know about Ward 12? It's been my home for 30 years, 30 plus some years. I feel it's a responsible, multicultural, fastest growing area in Edmonton. And saying that, the need for the LRT is even greater now than it was in the past. So, as far, I have no intentions of ever leaving this ward. It is my home, and I will always remain in Ward 12.
What do I know about Ward 12? Well, I know a lot about Ward 12 because I am a candidate who listens. I've been door knocking for several weeks now and getting to know the residents of Ward 12. And there's a lot of issues that are important to the residents of Ward 12. And you know, there's safety issues, which I have a plan to hire more police officers, create jobs. The LRT is very important, and we're going to make sure that it's built, and it's built right, and Edmonton is not going to be fined any sort of overcosts or fees. And they're concerned about access to services as well. You look at Ward 12, and you have to travel a long way to get any sort of services, and they're also concerned about schools. And you need someone up there who's going to be able to work with MLAs and provincial governments and advocate, saying that we need schools in Ward 12 and we need to quit. So I mean, the key thing here is listening, and I've been listening to all your guys' concerns, and I'm getting to know you guys very well. And like I said, the key thing is listening, and I'm going to be the counselor who listens to you. Thank
Where
you.
do you live?
We can talk about that later, Nick. You took up my time tonight.
Okay, thank you for the question. I just want to thank everyone who stayed because it's almost 6 o'clock. You've been here for 3 hours, so well done to everyone for staying and staying awake too. So I've lived in the ward for almost 30 years. Like I've started in Wine-Loss, I moved with my family to Burnwood. My parents still live in the Burnwood area. When I got married, I moved with my wife, and I'm now raising my young son in the Ellerslie Heights area. So I know Ward 12 very, very well. And there's one thing I've noticed of all the issues or all the things that are going on in the area. We're growing at the fastest rates, but we're also needing to manage and maintain what we have based on the two different areas of the ward. Right? We have an aging part, and we have a very, very fast-growing part in the southeast side as well. So we need to be able to plan for this growth, but also be able to maintain and manage what we have. Right? I think that's one key thing that's really important to keep in mind. Ward 12 is my home, and I'm raising my young family here. Just like many of you just mentioned, we have no intention of leaving. And I think that's an important thing because, as was mentioned earlier, you need to be from this ward to represent the ward, and I think that's something that I strongly feel towards making our city the best place we can. Thank you.
At least I would like to request each and every candidate to have 2 minutes for the closing statement why you want to be elected. And we will start from Jen.
Some of you have been sitting here, and I would love to be your teacher because you certainly are paying attention. So what I would like to close my arguments with is that I have reiterated my experience in public service, legal and finance, marketing, and extensive volunteering, all which complement a job as a counselor for you to represent you, coupled with communication skills in listening, understanding, and solving issues through research and working with others, together with input from you with respect to your concerns and your needs. At Council, we look at all issues relative to the management of and governments of the city, but when issues on the agenda relate to Ward 12, I would canvass my colleagues and advise them of the best interests in Ward 12 and solicit their support. And as a public official, I can go to all parts of government and get their responses, not like a regular citizen that nobody will talk to. I'm very dedicated to my job. I have no other business to run, so I'm completely committed. And my relationship with work is like a solid marriage, commitment and self-sacrifice. So let there be light. And I want to be your light and represent you here in Ward 12. And I value your support and your help and genuinely appreciate your endorsement by talking to your family and your friends. And you can go on my website and you can read my Facebook page for my campaign platform. and hopefully you will vote for Jerry Stevens on Monday, February 22nd. Thank you.
I'm Lincoln Ho, and efficiency is the key to keep moving forward. We don't have to lose jobs, we don't have to raise taxes, we just need to do things properly and efficiently. I just want to make sure that we move through the war quickly and save some time for us to do the most important things in our lives, having time for ourselves, our families. And I want to make sure that we prosper as we do it, so we'll bring in some jobs and we'll have a brighter future. So I have the plan, check it out on lincolnho.ca, everything's all laid out.
You've heard me say it over and over again, and I will continue to say it. Taxpayers deserve the best value for our city services. Infrastructure needs of Ward 12 cannot be neglected, and great ideas and projects should not just happen downtown. On February 22nd, I am asking for your vote to be your voice on City Council for Ward 12.
You might ask, what's so unique about Movan? I'm not going to promise what I might do. I have that experience. I can tell you that what I can do. As a police officer, I dealt with hundreds and hundreds of situations, real situations, where I had to make informed, sometimes brave, sometimes even unpopular decisions. Whether it's a suicide situation, domestic violence, road crash, etc., etc. I have also helped raise hundreds of dollars for community projects by going from door to door. With that, and I also have worked in teams and worked with other levels of the government. And I have record for not just saying that I will do things, I have record where I establish things and I actually do them. So on February 22nd, please vote for me so that I can represent you and your interests as #1 priority in the city of Edmonton from Ward 12. Thank you.
Is this on? Oh, I said I'd never do this again, but if you check out the guy's website called daveberta.ca, he's got everybody that's listed as a candidate in this election. You can buzz down their Facebook pages. It takes about 20 minutes to do it. You get to mine, there's posts every night on 3 pages about all these issues. Everybody else's up until a week ago were empty, in my opinion. But he had said in the last issue, if you take out the people who've run in elections across Millwoods and all over Edmonton and lost continually, take out those that are going to school, which impressed me, don't get me wrong. Taking out sitting elected folks, business owners, celebrities, advocates. There is one person in this election race with proven experience who stands alone in my campaign, and my lead and committed voters, as we find out in polls soon, will let you know that. You elect me or anyone else to represent Ward 12, whether the citizens give their opinions or not, 30% of the people vote. I don't know how many opinions you're going to get, but you have to do the job, and it's one person alone on city council that's going to do the job. I don't have any supporters here on purpose because I stand alone on this job. Whether you have 50 or 500 campaign workers, I've done this whole campaign with one letter going out to people on recycled paper. After the election, win or lose, they can use it as a shopping list. I've advocated against signs. Freestanding election signs are a waste of time and money, especially in economic times like this. I have 12 fence signs that I'm putting up all over this campaign, and I'm not looking for strategic locations. I'm just putting them up to remind people of the promises they've made to vote for me. Thank you.
First, I want to thank you, panel. moderators, and Press Council of Edmonton, and my fellow candidates for coming today to the debate. Edmonton, especially the Ward 12, has been in the spotlight recently for domestic violence. Crime rate has increased, lack of late night service, taxi number issues. Majority of the taxi operators are from Ward 12, where 3,319 families and their livelihood is at stake with the new bylaw. And the council should have waited for the fair presentation. According to the EPS statistic, there are 7,849 events or calls throughout the Edmonton had domestic violence, and that breaks down to 21 calls per day. In few short speak, when we go to the poll, I want you to ask yourself, how can you make the difference in this election? And what kind of future do we want for our children? It's time for change in the Ward 12. It's time for new vision, and it's time for new direction. We need a representative to the City Council that puts the interest of Ward 12 and its residents first, not their own self-interest. I've been a strong advocate for our community and promise to carry the same energy and the passion towards the elected official. And this is why I have asked you to join me in the journey and vote for pre-tour in upcoming election on February 22nd.
Thanks again to the Edmonton Press Council and the Maharaja Banquet Hall. Fantastic job. Many of you already knew me. I've been in the community for a long time. You've heard me on iNews 880, you've read my columns, you've seen what I've done. Maybe tonight you know my heart a little better, and that's a great thing. I've spent the last 3 hours with these people here telling you what I'm going to do or what I want to do for you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to vote, of course. I want you to vote for me. I want you to tell your friends and neighbors what you heard today. I want you to communicate that there is a person here with a servant's heart, with common sense, and a willingness to help you reach the challenges of your ward. I'd also like you to tune into 6:30 Jet on Tuesday morning, because we're going to be having a radio forum and I need votes to advance up there, so the more the better. So if you're like me, and you're sick of crime, and you're sick of potholes, and you're sick of high taxes, vote for Terry J. McKinnon on February 22nd for Ward 12. Thank you.
I'm into public service for the last 5 years, 24/7, 100%. And I'm a great listener, and I feel councillors should be a good team player. Things would only be possible if I'm working with council together. And I have to be inclusive. But I find everybody has a right to opinion, and you need a strong informed voice in city to get the things done for Ward 12. All of you are talking about February 22nd, but I talk about February 8, 9, 10 and 11 when advanced polls are happening, and from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And please don't forget to vote Yes Sharma. Thank you so much.
First of all, I'd like to say that I believe I'm the right person for the job in these times. I care, and you'll see on my signs, vote with your heart. That's all I ask. Thank you.
I'm running for City Council because I've seen how our community can come together in times of grief and joy. I want to see this community, the community that I was born in, raised in, educated in, continue to build and strengthen that fabric. We're all residents of the city. We want to see it succeed. We need to see it succeed. I have the business perspective and the necessary political experience for the job. This political experience and the relationships I've built across the political spectrum have taught me how government works, the importance of speaking out against injustice, and how to get things done. Consistency, persistence, and trust. These are the values you can expect of me. That's why I'm asking for your vote. There are a lot of candidates running this by-election. Many of them don't live here. Many of them don't have the requisite background to understand local issues and represent concerns. I do. You agree with what I represent? Please vote for me, Ranjit Singh on February 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank all the audience, the media personalities, everybody who attended this evening, here Sunday today. It's very important for us who to vote. I know it's very hard decision. There are 32 of us running, and it's your decision. It's a public decision. They have to make the decision on the basis of the facts. Please vote for Balraj Manhas on February 8, 9, 10, 11, or February 22nd. Why? Because I fought for the normal man. I had a fight for longer than 10 years already. I spent thousands of hours voluntarily at the City Hall, and everybody knows about it. So make your decision on the basis of facts. Whatever I will do when I got elected. I will also make the decision on the basis of the facts from the public input. I will be fair, fiscally responsible. Also, I will make the management of the city fiscally responsible, because it's their duty to not to mismanage the public money. I will be committed to bring the tax dollars down by fixing the management, as few councillors had the guts in the past who did it. Maybe only one did. You guys know about it, and I will join those councillors who are fighting for the public, for our ward, and I will be there for you. Thank you. Vote for Balraj Manhas.
Once again, I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation today. It's been a long day, I would say, but needed. You have heard some of my passionate platform issues, but that's not all the issues. I mean, the LRT, the transit, safety are all passionate issues to me. So we definitely have to work on all the issues within this ward. I know the current mayor. I've worked with the mayor, and I have worked with a few of the current councillors. Ranjit Sohi also I've worked with. I know all of the city councillors, and I know that I'll be able to work with them in achieving what we see best for Ward 12. Once again, in closing, I just believe I have the knowledge, the experience, and the right priorities to serve as your voice on City Council. Thank you once again, and I hope to earn your vote on February 22nd.
Well, I know everyone's kind of said it already, but thank you all for attending tonight. It's been a long 3 hours, but thank you all for being a part of the democratic process, and have a safe drive home tonight. Why vote for Dan Johnson on February 22nd? Well, I mean, I think the answer is simple. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. I have a proven track record. I have a reputation of being a man of the people, not just here in Edmonton, but around Alberta. I have a reputation of being someone who works for the little guy who works hard. I have a huge chip on my shoulder, and I have a lot to prove, and I will be a city councillor who stands up for you. People are tired of politicians who just stand for re-election alone. I know I'm very tired of them. So we need people who are going to work hard and work for the actual people who listen to your guys' issues, listen to your concerns, and goes up and is a strong, passionate voice for you guys. And I know that I have this strong voice to represent you, and I'm looking forward to representing you in the coming months. So February 22nd, vote Dan Johnstone, and you will not regret it. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you again. So I won't take up too much time. I know I'm the second last person before everyone gets to go home. So we all have like an origin story that what brought us here to the place we're at today. And I won't go into too much detail. You can find out more about my story. But I will share just a really quick, brief aspect of it. My parents moved here with my brother and I in 1985 for one key reason, many reasons why you all moved here to Canada possibly. It's a better life for your children, right? You're giving up everything you had back home for the betterment of your children. As children, we've had to honor that by succeeding for them, their desire. Key desire was, of course, to get a good education. I'm very grateful to have done that privilege for them by being able to achieve a master's degree at the UA, my family's very first one, and now currently pursuing a PhD, which of course I've had to put on hold right now because I'm running for city council. But that's given me the experience to work with city council, to work with the city of Edmonton, to get that good job that each parent wants their children to have a better life for their kids than they have themselves. So for me, it's a way to honor and serve not just my parents, but the community as a whole. And as a city councilor, and now having a young family in the area, I have the same aspirations for my kids as I'm sure many of you have for your children. So 3 key things I want to focus on is accountability and finding inefficiencies to help with finding better service delivery. I'm really committed to building an Edmonton for everyone, a city that's welcoming and inclusive regardless of your background. And number 3, I really want to build better engagement opportunities for citizens so they're better informed, so they know exactly where money is going and where projects are going. So at the end of the day, I'll leave it at that. I just want to thank everyone again for their time. It's going to be a very important decision to make with this many people running, and I admire everyone for coming out and doing their homework. So thank you again for your time.
My name is Jason Dale. I just want to again say thank you to Press Council of Edmonton for hosting this, and for everyone in attendance as well for making it out here and staying this long. We really all deserve a round of applause for that. So I'm running because I feel that I have the necessary ideas that we need now to help catapult us forward to a better future. I have real plans for the budget, specific areas where to go look for inefficiencies. I have real plans for transit that will help us in the long run. I have real plans for poverty on what needs to be fixed. I live in a modern day household that actively practices gender equality, and these are my core beliefs. So on February 22nd, 222, vote for number 2 on the ballot, Jason Dale. Thank you.
General Secretary of the Press Council of Edmonton. Connor, please. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Russell, and for moderating the evening. Well, just give yourself a big round of applause for being here today. I learned being in public like two things: patience and perseverance, which is a great virtue. You all are here today as a community leaders to encourage us. This could not have been possible without your presence, and we are Press Council of Edmonton. And once again, I would like to say thank you. We just still have some formalities to take care of. Would like to ask our executive committee of the Press Council of Edmonton to come beside or over here at the podium. I would like to take the names. Mr. Ranjit, please. Past President of Press Council of Edmonton. Mr. Ranjit Sandhu. Current President, Mr. Sanjay Patel. Vice President Mr. Ranveer Bilaspan and Prakash Patel. Treasurer Mr. Ghanshyam. I would like to add one more. I would like to tag one more person without whom this would not have possible, the founder and the brain behind the Press Council of Edmonton, Mr. Ashok Advani. Just one of the brightest journalists, and who also worked in India. Been hearing about this a lot, and he's one of the individuals we admire. He's here today and he's behind the cameras. Thank you. And one more thing, as you know, where we are today at this point, this is the venue for us. Maharaja Banquet Hall would not have been possible at all if we didn't get the venue. That's the biggest challenge this time of the year, or every time of the year. And we'd like to thank Mr. Tariq Chowdhury, and we'd like to ask him to come at the podium and join us for couple of minutes, please. A small appreciation from Press Council of Edmonton. Mr. Sanjay Patel, if you can please Thank you, Mr. Tariq Chaudhry. We humbly and we are very grateful to you for giving this opportunity to be here again and again. Give him a big round of applause, please. Well, the gentlemen of our evening, two of our moderators who took the time to be here today, would like to ask Mr. Sunil Full and Russell Campbell, please. And I would like to ask to do the honors to appreciate on behalf of Press Council of Edmonton, Mr. Sanjay Patel, the President, and everybody as Executive Committee. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you, moderators, for the evening. Sunil and Russell, thank you very much. I would like to conclude to ask for a couple of words for a word of thanks, and would like to invite back Mr. Sanjay Patel, our President, Press Council of Edmonton.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you very, very much to all of you. Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank our host to conduct this forum at such short notice and for doing so nicely. Thank you very much. We are very proud of the fact that even though it's the by-election, there are so many committed people willing to come forward and serve as a councillor Ward 12. We wish all the best to everyone and may the best candidate win. Press Council of Edmonton stand to provide our community by doing the right kind of journalism, bringing awareness, report of events and provide information. We would like to thank Mr. Tariq Chaudhry, owner of Maharaja Banquet Hall, for providing us with all of the facility to do this forum and to make it a success. We are also thankful to all of you and the religious and cultural organization for accepting our invitation and the present, because you are the ones who have made this forum happen. Press Council is thankful to Punjabi media and other mainstream media for their help. Now the forum is over and we invite you for snacks. We encourage you all to hand over the leadership for Councillor Ward 12. Thank you very much for the Press Council of Edmonton, all executive members and volunteers. Thank you very much. Good luck.